right. So welcome into Bourbon M Bs. I'm here today with a good friend, a throwback. Today felt like a great time to have her on because even if you've been friends with someone for years, they tend to try to duck you because they're scared of being on a microphone. So this took me literally waiting until she was drunk to agree and then put it in our calendar. That's a real fucking story.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how that went down.
Yeah, she got drunk. She's like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to be on your show. I was like, say less. You fucked up because you said yes.
It's the only way to get me to agree to most things. So you nailed it.
Well, today I'm here with a good friend from back in the day. If anyone has ever wanted the most embarrassing stories about me or who has known me the longest outside of people who are blood relatives, Tiadisa Limonta is a friend that has known me since I was 12, 13.
Yeah. 11, 12.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. 30 plus years.
So
almost.
Main reason why we're still friends is because you know too much and I can't get rid of you. It would be a problem. But
I tried.
She tried. No, that didn't work out for you, did it? Tia, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here with you. You're right. I didn't want to.
Sober, you's okay with it now?
I'm okay with it. I've come to terms. I have a nice stiff drink to help me out. So,
well, speaking of the drink, because Tia, I'm going to just call you Tia. People are going to be like, hey, Tia's going to jump around. Screw you. This is my show. Do what I want. Since Tia's an educator, I felt that we wanted to make something themed around teachers. So I found a cocktail called the Teacher's Pet. Now, you would almost assume a teacher might want something nice because of kids, blah, blah, blah. You haven't spent much time around children. So the Teacher's Pet feels a lot like a rift in between of a Manhattan and an old fashioned. Takes an ounce and a half of blended whiskey or just straight Kentucky whiskey to 2 ounces. We poured it 2 ounces because it's been that kind of week. A half an ounce of dry vermouth and a half an ounce of sweet vermouth. And you put that, just spin that together in a glass, pour some 2 dashes of bitters as well. So I used Anglo bitters. And you top that off with an orange slice and a cherry. Easy peasy, gonna get the job done. Tia, what do you think? You actually finally had it. I know your husband
tried it. Yeah. I finally tried it. It was pleasantly surprising. It's stiff. It's a strong drink, but it's smooth. I like it.
As an educator, I'm pretty sure you need more than just fucking.
I do. And no, and it won't take much. It won't take very much. I'll be nice and loose by half of it.
Oh, that's great. Guys, stay tuned for part 2 of this episode where Tia's all the way turned up. This is the best kind of episode. But yeah, man. So a little bit about you, and like when people are listening, like, I kind of want to jump right into it because of how long we've known each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tell people all the time that I have friends that are low maintenance. You are the exact example I use every time.
Well, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's one of my challenges with friendships. Everyone expects a little bit more, and this is it. This is what I can give. When you need me, I'm 100% there. But otherwise, you won't hear from me very much, and I'll drop you a random text every so often, letting you know I love you, and then I disappear for months at a time.
Months is a short window for you sometimes. I think there have been times where it'd be 1 year and we'll just talk for like an hour. Hey, like I remember I called you one time when it was your birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday. We got on the phone. I'm exercising on a bike and we're talking for like an hour. I'm like, oh, that's all. We stopped talking. Then I didn't hear from you again for a year. That was exactly the type of friendships I need, guys. For anyone at home who needs me to check in with you every 2 months, every like 2 days. No.
Easy peasy, guys. I mean, in the best way, I guess. But
it's good. Low maintenance friends are true friends. I think that it's a really cool, unique thing where you could just pick up with each other and it's like you never stopped hanging out. You could be in completely different phases in your life. Hey, like, hey, I'm a born again Christian monk. I don't know what the fuck. And you wouldn't even judge. It's like, oh, yeah, cool. Where can you go to drink? Like, what can you
Well,
do?
I love that, right? I love that. Even like our exchanges between our text messages or like the other day when you called me, there doesn't have to be this like long greeting or this extended. We jump right into it, right? And it just flows, and it's always been easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I love it's you, James, and a couple of those people from back in the day. Shouts to James Reyes. He's a big
love James.
Contributor. Like, he's a like day one supporter. When I even talked about doing the podcast, he's like, "Did you start it? Yeah. What do you need from me? I don't know. If you want to sign up." He just sent me money. He just started sent me money. He has sent me people's phone numbers. He's like, "Hey, I'm at this distillery. Do you want me to give them your phone number? Hey, I'm here with this dude, real big bourbon dude.
Oh, I love it.
Give them your phone number." I got a care package behind me from a dude James gave my phone number to on Tuesday.
I love it. I love James. James has always had such a good heart. He's been such a great friend. And he's another one where you don't see him in forever and it's easy to just pick up where you left off.
Bro, I hadn't seen that dude in 12 years. Said, hey, I might be going to Colorado. Him and his wife opened the doors like, come on in. We'll drive you around all of Colorado. We'll take vacation time. We'll do all that. Huh? I fucking love you guys. Stephanie and him, amazing.
But I love it.
Yeah, that's a friendship that if you guys don't have that, get yourself a low maintenance friend. This one will always be there. You'd always pop up. Some emergency happens. She still wants to be invited to the wedding, even though she didn't invite me to hers. She's still.
Oh my God. I'm getting so much crap for that. I had to make some cut.
You will do this later. But tell me, I'll let you tell like our origin story and friendship and like everything. Kind of just a brief history of like we got to know each other.
Well, you and I met each other in middle school. You came in. I had already been at the school for a year. You came in, I believe it was the 6th grade. There was like a handful of you guys that joined. We were an elite, gifted and talented school in Harlem. Mm-hmm. And it was a really tight community, right? So like you jumping in 6th grade was kind of off for you, I imagine, just because we had all clicked up, right? We were all had our circles and like you came in. And I don't remember if it was that year or the following year that you and I really clicked.
I think it was the following year. That first year, I didn't know any of y'all motherfuckers.
Yeah. So the following year, you and I really clicked. And then like we were just hanging out all the time. Like we were inseparable. And that went on until you left me and you abandoned all of us and moved to Massachusetts, never to be heard of again. That's my story.
That's your version of the story. That's your version of the story. To be clear, I got moved. I didn't have a choice. I got physically.
That's true.
But during that time for Mount Hall, there's James, me, you, Lucia, John DeSena, a bunch of people.
Yeah, Eric
Cuello. Angela. That is one of the unique things. You know how people talk about, hey, I'm really cool with my high school friends. I'm not. I have like 3, maybe, and that's because I became roommates with one of their brothers. Outside of that, I'm cooler with the people from Mount Hall than I've ever been with anyone in high school. But those people,
anytime I say that, everyone's kind of weirded out by like, what do you mean you still keep in contact with your middle school? It's like I couldn't name most people that I went to high school with, and I keep in contact with maybe one friend from high school. And really, it's the Mod Hallers that I think like you hear from me right every once in a blue moon, but
I don't need to hear from you often. Like I'd rather not actually.
Either kid announcement, right? It's either birth announcement or
yeah, it's like randomly. It's just like, hey, I had another kid. Oh shit, for real? Just go back to my closet somewhere. But you talk to the people, and what did they say when you say this?
Like everyone's weirded out by me being so close to or being so connected to the people from middle school. And it's just like you said, right? We won't see each other for years at a time. Mm-hmm. And somehow when we come together, we fall right back in line and into our rhythm, and like the banter starts and we all make fun of our.
Yeah, that seems to be a common thread, guys. I'm cool with being the butt of the jokes, and I think that's why it helps. But Jesus, y'all have so much goddamn ammo.
We've gotten better. Everyone's gotten better. I think I.
To be fair, it goes back. I will admit, I'm not the victim here. I have made fun of Tia for a very long time in our life.
Come on, some of the nicknames it's fucked up.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
We won't do it.
We're not going to do that. It's 2025.
Won't do it.
Nicknames from back then are not PC.
Won't do it.
You named her after a Pokemon at some point.
You guys are such dicks. Bunch of jerks.
So I think that's why I just take it of like, I remember making fun of her for way too long, having a Great Valley windbreaker that you somehow try to survive winters.
Oh my God, why was I wearing that thing?
I have no idea. Guys,
to be cold.
If you ever decide to send your child outside in a windbreaker that looks like it's made of like it was like what? Shopping bags from the local fucking
windbreaker. It was a nice windbreaker. It just wasn't warm.
It was snowing. And this girl's like, I'm trying to look cute. Go put something on.
Apparently, I was developmentally on point because all of these kids, that's what they do. They're out here in hoodies in 20-degree weather. So I was just on trend.
Yeah, you were just ahead of your time. Yeah, that's what you were going to call it now. You're just going to say you're an innovator.
I created it.
You created it? Fuck it. But there's always of anything. Yeah, she fucks with me the most. I think, especially as I got older, there's this. I'm gonna say this. This is just funny because I'm gonna get ahead of it. No one realizes until you really like get to know me that like how much of a nerd I used to be, how like awkward I was, all those things. So when Tia makes fun of me, I was like, she knows the most. Like she knew me in the early stages of that. So like, I need to stop.
Oh, yeah.
I need to relax. She has way too much ammo. Like,
No, but now your nerdiness is cool, right? Like now it's not even valid. All the nerdy shit that you guys were doing, it was
right?
totally cool. I mean, now it is. Back then, it was like you were dragging me along to some really geeky shit. But it was, and I remember being clueless, like, hey, you want to go downtown real quick? And I was like, sure, I'll tag along. And then we'd end up at a Magic the Gathering tournament, right? In the middle of nowhere. So, but to be fair, this is all cool stuff now. So you were ahead of the trend, my friend.
Oh my God. I don't want to linger on that, but I am happy and pissed that the stuff I got made fun of is now like, oh, you can be a nerd all day. It's fine. Just fucking love Marvel. Just love Magic the Gathering. Just
Yeah.
Cavill's making PCs and girls are fucking, this is a thirst trap. Oh, fuck. Where was this? Where was this 20 years ago? Like, fuck you guys.
No kidding.
Like you told me, like I remember when I was like 25, very confident all this, and I still play D&D. And I remember a girl I was talking to, she's like, you're hunching Dungeons and Dragons? Like, that's so not sexy. I'm like, I don't really care. She's like, what? Like, I don't really
You're cut off.
I was like, I don't really care. Look, at this point, I'm just comfortable with being a nerd. I'm not just going to I don't care. Nowadays, you meet fucking tens and everyone's like, all these gorgeous human beings are just like, we all play Dungeons and Dragons. Now they sold out arenas to watch a group of Dimension 20 play Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, I know. I bought Roman tickets over Christmas to watch like this 20-sided tavern show in New York. It was, and he says it was like mind blowing. It was awesome.
It's insane. But back in the day, we were like, oh, fucking nerds. And I mean, half those motherfuckers, never left the block, so fuck them. But they still have like a junior high school education. I'm not that balance, right? Enough of shitting on people who hated nerds.
Yes.
So yeah, there was a lot of times in New York, like I have a lot of those great memories and fucking around and hanging out with you. But you're right, I did leave New York at some point. And around that time, things changed. But I remember when we got older, you told, I don't think you were in education yet, right? You were trying to, I think, go into like medical something health field for some time. Tell me about
that. I don't know. I don't think so.
What were you, what took you?
Nothing. Nothing. No. At first, like early on, I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted. I think I had my head really embedded into my ass, but deeply embedded. And I didn't know what I wanted to. It's out. It's free. I didn't know what I wanted to do for a long time, or like I had gone back and forth with certain things. Education is one of those things that always came up. But funny enough, for me, the first time that I remember going, this could be a thing, was, as you remember, in Mod Hall, actually, we had to go out and do community service. We had to go and serve like local businesses and hospitals and whatever. So I was placed at a Head Start center in Washington Heights. And I remember it was awesome. I remember being in a classroom with 3-year-olds, and I didn't know anything, right? I was a kid. And there was this one little boy who was kind of the liar. Everybody else was kind of playing together, and he was just always by himself. And now I used to go week after week. And this little boy was non-responsive. He wouldn't talk to anyone. He wouldn't eat. He wouldn't play with anyone. Like the teachers had kind of just like, let him do his thing on the side. Nobody bothers him. He doesn't bother it. And there was something about that didn't sit right with me, even at that age. And I remember just sitting with the kid, right? And I wasn't trying to force him into talking or playing or doing anything. I just sat with him. And eventually, like after a couple of weeks of me doing that, he would call me over to play. He started interacting with me. And I can see that the child was on the spectrum. The teachers probably didn't know what to do with him or how to handle him or how to serve him, right, and his needs. And there was something that clicked for me at that moment. Like, why did why was I successful in like engaging with this kid, but these adults weren't? Mm. So that was like the first time that I was really like, maybe there's something here. Maybe I'm good at this. Maybe I could be good at this.
That's really fucking awesome. Did you follow?
I remember this child's name. Like Christopher. I'll never forget it. It was such a moment for me.
Did you stay in contact with the child after?
Or? No. Because once we finished serving, that was it. But I remember like there were a couple of weeks that like finally like I got through to him and he was talking to me and not like conversational, but just communicating what he wanted or what he needed. And it was amazing. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I did not know that that's what it like led you down that path.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I avoid children like the plague.
I know you always do.
I always have. Even when
you
we were
always
younger, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking to me for. I'm good. Like my nieces and nephews, I'm good with them. I love them. I will be the coolest uncle and I will spoil them rotten, which is a problem financially. Because my niece will probably walk in one day, like, I need a pony. Like, well, I'm selling my car. I can afford a pony. Like, I can't afford a pony otherwise. Shit, Matilda's gonna hear this. So you decided then, like, this is kind of the industry, not the field, but the industry, or is that just something you go back to when you think about what got you into it?
No, that's always what I go back to. Between that and then a few years later at Alianza, I was an after-school tutor for a while. And there I was tutoring kids, but like 2 years younger than I was. I was 16 and these kids were 8th graders, right? So I really had no business being in the classroom with them. But it was a fun experience. I enjoyed being in that role. And then when I had Jaden, when I got pregnant with my son and I had Jaden, something clicked and I was like, I need to get my shit together. And then I revisited like,
on me. Like
right. I'm responsible now for another person. And it was the best decision. Like that's kind of what inspired me to go back to school and pursue this thing that I was already interested in, right? Like I knew that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being in the classroom. I had a little bit of practice with it and I wanted to kind of fine tune that and just have something stable for myself and for him.
All right. And that's obviously started in the city and, you kind of moved through. What level class did you start with? Was it like, how did that look like? Because I really never know like what that looks like.
Like teaching in New York?
Yeah. Like where do you become a kindergarten teacher? Do you jump to a specific grade? Like what was the look?
No, you choose what area you want to specialize in. And early on, I thought that was the other thing, right? I thought I had this connection with this little boy, Christopher. He was 3 years old. So I was like, I need to work with the little ones, right? I need to work with anyone below 3 years old. And I did that for several years. But there was little room for growth. And again, I felt stuck. So I was like, no, I want to go to a public school and just expand, right? Like I just want to grow. And then you choose, you kind of choose what you want to specialize in. So I started off with the little ones, and then I went off to get certified through 6th grade. So I can teach through 6th grade. And then it depends on what's available. But I know that I don't want to do past like 2nd grade.
That's when we become dicks. That's
a little bit. Don't get me wrong. They can be dicks at 5 years old too. But
I mean, children can be dicks in all stages of life. That's fair.
Yeah. They're all little assholes.
Yeah, they're really mean.
And I say that.
Really mean. You can say whatever the fuck you want. This show is called Bourbon M Bullshit.
No, I mean for the sake of my job.
That's fair. Whatever, it's fine. Someone at your school was like, we heard this podcast that we listen to regularly.
I know, right? Yeah, and we heard you call children an asshole.
To be fair, it's factually accurate. So you did that in New York for a while.
Yeah.
And then you moved through those ranks, but at some point it became very different. And I always hate going back to it because it's 2025. We don't always want to go back to it. But during that time, like obviously the pandemic happened, right? And that major city, what was that like?
So the pandemic hit during my first year teaching in public school. So prior to that, I had been in private school, which is a totally different monster. I had been working with younger kids. I had been in school for a while. So I had left the classroom and I was home. And literally, I had just jumped back into the classroom after 4 years of being a stay-at-home mom. Mm-hmm. And I was terrified already. like to go back to work.
You anxious and terrified?
Right? Who'd have thought? Yeah. Who'd have thought? But and then what? 6 months in, not even, everything shuts down, and I'm working at this place that was not a traditional school. It's like one of the oldest progressive schools, public progressive schools in New York. So everything's very hands-on. The kids work very collaboratively. They don't know how to work the way that was required to work during the
They don't know how to
pandemic.
be 5 feet apart or whatever.
They don't know how to do this aside, right? Like aside from the fact that they were 3 and 4 years old, they were 4 years old. I was teaching pre-K at the time. So that was a huge challenge. Just navigating what that looked like, teaching online. Maybe that's why I didn't want to get on a Zoom. Maybe that's why I didn't want to do this, because teaching online was the worst thing ever, especially with 4-year-olds. The amount of asses that I saw, children and parents, because no one's stressed, because no one, like everybody's walking around in the background, just coming out of showers. There's other siblings, there's kids just like left alone with a device and expected to learn online. Like it was just total chaos and madness. And navigating through all that shit was miserable. And there was like no rule book, right? There's no manual for this. It was just like, well, get on a computer. Good luck.
Figure it the fuck out. So, okay, the amount of asses you saw, you can't just fucking slide by that. How the fuck did that, like, is that something that you had to, hey, Mr. Stevenson, I just want to let you know.
Yes. You had to send like a mass email. You sent out an email like, hi, just as a reminder, please make sure that everyone's fully dressed while the cameras are on. The fact that I had to say that to adults and children. Yeah, I don't miss that at all. There were some people who thrived on, right? Like working online and doing the teaching online. Jaden, my oldest, he did school online for a year and a half. He was all virtual for a year and a half. It went well for him. Riley, on the other hand, my middle one, she was in PK and kindergarten during that time. And it was miserable. Like we lost time with her academically in her development. We lost time.
Do you feel like it was like detrimental to an extent, or like, what do you mean when you say you lost time? Like, do you feel like she was behind when it came back into like a normal standard setting?
100%. 100%. And just socially, she's such a social kid that she really required that interaction. And I mean, kids in general, right? They're, for the most part, they're really social. They need that, just that those peer interactions to develop. And we did. We saw a lot of that, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fears at home. And then, of course, when I jumped back into the classroom, at that point, I was still in New York. At that point, we had already purchased a house in Maryland. So I was going back and forth.
That was wild when you told me about that. I'm like, where are you staying at? You're like, technically, the fuck do you mean?
Yeah. Oh my God. The way that shit went down was also just as wild.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there in a second. So your middle one gets into school and regular school, and did she adapt well? You're saying she didn't, or?
The social part, yeah, she fell right back in for the most part. But academically, we saw where things were missing. You would think, right? Like, I'm a teacher. What do you mean? It's different at home. It's totally different. And there were a lot of holes. And we're still playing catch up in some areas there. And she's in 4th grade now, right? She's 9 years old. It was tough.
That's tough.
It's been tough.
I also do know that like the New York school systems are really next level compared to like other states. And someone's going to be like, oh, well, this damn Yankee. No, relax. I'm not shitting on any other state. New York is designed in a way to like, you're going to get the fastest, highest level of education early as on as possible to set you up for success later.
So there's been a shift. There's been a shift in that, and not just in New York. I agree with you. And I think that was probably one of the more difficult parts about coming to Maryland and teaching here. It's not that. I think post-pandemic, especially, the bar has kind of dropped.
Oh,
the standard.
No.
Yeah, the standard is kind of, you expect more, but the standard is it's dropped. Like a lot of the stuff seems watered. Shut the fuck up. A lot of the stuff seems watered down. Um, it feels like a lot of fuss to teach. I guess that was it. Like a lot of fuss to
But you
just
feel
teach kids. Like think about when you and I went to school. Some things just it's just the way we did things, right? And they've complicated things, right? There's so much red tape to go through, and there's so many like experts who've never been in a classroom and
I
are
hate
kind of
those.
dictating what you do and how it should be taught. And it's like every group of kids that lands in your classroom is different.
Yeah.
There's
Cookie
no
cutter
formula.
experience.
There's no cookie cutter, right? Like formula for how to teach. But I think we've overcomplicated things in the education field for kids. I think it's not rigorous enough in certain areas, and I think we're kind of like lowering the standard. And yeah, I
So
have big feelings.
to not put homies on the spot, I have friends that will not be named who have constantly told me about now there's added pressure to pass students who they wouldn't have passed otherwise.
Oh yeah,
There's constant pressures to adjust rubrics that will assist with home ideals as opposed to facts.
right. And that I think that's been my biggest challenge now, right? Like this year and being in a different education system right now here in Maryland.
Mhm.
That's been I just tagged my sister in to teach my kids social studies. Like she's homeschooled her kids, and I was like, they're not gonna get anything of
Yeah.
substance from what's happening on the curriculum. And I know that fact, right? Because I can see the curriculum and I know that they're not.
Yeah. I'm not putting you in a predicament because I'll say it because I'm an educator. But, just kind of almost rewriting history to an extent or just omitting certain
We're
events.
glossing over some of these really important historical facts. Like we're just kind of like, just, hey, oh, and by the way, this sort of happened. And it was like one lesson. I taught one lesson.
Hey, let's talk about the Trail of Tears for 13 seconds. It happened. And wait, what was it? Don't worry about it. Well, let's get back into why Thomas Edison's great.
Seriously, yeah. So it feels there's a lot of that happening, and I don't know so much about in New York right now, just because the school that I was working in New York was on the opposite end of that. They wanted to have the heaviest conversation with the student, like we are going to unpack all of this shit, and I appreciated that about that place. Like my grandmother passed away within the first 2 weeks that I was working there, and I had to sit these kids down, read them a book about death, then have a conversation about my feelings. And like, can you guys relate? Has anyone here suffered a loss? And so we were really digging into some deep shit.
Very flip side, and I kind of like that.
I liked it. I mean, there was other things wrong with the place, but I did like that part of it. And I kind of adopted.
You kind of adopted it, like in how you communicate.
In how I teach my own children at home and in my classroom. I like certain things. It's like, we're just going to talk about it. If I'm having a bad day, I'm going to tell you I'm having a bad day. And I may not get into the nitty gritty as to why. I'll give you a reason. I'll explain why. And I think that helps with like forming those relationships with the kids. Why would you trust me if I'm, like if I'm guarded in the classroom, even with 5-year-olds, right? And 5-year-olds love fucking everybody.
Yeah, but they also pick up on vibes. Like,
right. That's
just an instinct. Unless you're brought up in a household where like you're just fucking ignorant to everything going around you, just running into shit. But in every experience, part of the reason why this makes me laugh, as much as I don't want children like me. And I'm always like, why do you like me? He's like, I just like you, Uncle Arthur. That's so weird. And it tends to be like kids could pick up on who's like a decent human being, someone who they can pick up on energy, like this equated to dogs. Sorry.
I wholeheartely believe. No. I'm not offended by that. I agree. And I've said those same words. I agree 100%. Especially
until they get older. When they're younger, they just kind of pick up on the energy and vibes. Like people forget, especially when you get older, like repressed memories and all the things that means your kid was always paying attention. They knew something was off.
Yeah.
You might be like, oh, we didn't say those words. No, they fucking knew.
Like, whenever my kids have projected someone or been really adamant about like, keeping someone away, I've always respected that and listened to it, no matter how young they were. Like just certain people holding your kid, and if your kid reacts the same way every single time,
That's
something's
not,
off.
they're no longer holding my
Something's
kid.
fine. They don't, right? Like they don't vibe, or I don't know. I listen to that.
Like I remember, even my niece. Like my niece loves me. She'll text me, she'll call me, like just happy birthday, send messages, all that. But there are times and like, oh hey Matilda, and she'll actually, I was like, that's fine. I have no beef with it. Nope, don't press it.
Yeah.
But I've always disliked when parents are like, go hug them, they're your uncle.
Right.
No, I don't want to. When I want
boundaries, consent. Yep.
Yeah. So my cousins or my mom will be like, oh, hug your uncle. It's like, nah, bro, she don't want to hug me. She don't got to do anything. Like she'll later at some point come to me for candy or some shit. It's fine. Like
yeah.
she's ready. Like that's who she is. I'm not going to fucking force that shit. I've always hated that when I was younger. Being like, oh, do you remember your aunt? She held you once when you were 6. Why the fuck would I remember that or care? I don't have that relationship.
What is that? Why do they do that?
Fucking old school Hispanic parents too. It's always the old school Hispanic parents. Like, don't you remember your godmother when you were?
No, I don't.
Do you know when godmother gets assigned? When I can't remember shit. Don't know that lady. Not my fault. You're no longer friends. But I think it's cool that you actually find a way to navigate those conversations and put children in a space where they could have emotional intelligence and be able to kind of unpack that early on and they turn into well-functioning adults. That's the hope.
That's the idea. And to advocate for themselves and to even set those boundaries, right? With their adults, with me, like I have I'm really big on like, just set your boundaries and we're going to respect each other's boundaries. So a hug, you can't just run up on me and give me a hug. I'm not going to run up on you and give you a hug. You have to ask me. This is my body. You got to ask me for a hug, even at 5 years old, right? Like, and that's something that they're not used to anyone kind of saying to them. And I'm big about that in the classroom. My kids, right? Like my oldest two, when Jaden starts tickling the other one and she goes, stop, stop, stop. I'm like, the first time you stop, she needs to understand that when she says stop, the expectation is it's done, game over. And he needs to also know when he hears stop, even if it's a game, hands come off, right? So it's a big thing that I picked up early on in teaching and has kind of stayed with me at home and in the classroom.
I think that's important. I think communication is important when even when as a functioning adult, right? Like understanding you. So that once again, hashtag not a sponsor. Someone's going to be here like, you're not a dad. I know that. Relax. Probably a terrible dad anyway. I think even as an adult, understanding that communicating has to be clear, concise, but also respected and received. If that person across from you isn't receiving it, there's a limit. Everything is different. There's someone that you could be communicating to someone who's just not ready to understand that message. There's never been a situation where can someone communicate that well.
Right.
I think that's established way early on. When go.
That's not something you teach at 2025, right? Like you have to start from the very beginning to start teaching these boundaries and consent and how to communicate effectively.
Yeah. You could work on it. There's certain levels. I think every day you have to be better than you were yesterday. That's my personal goal. And that comes with accepting when you fuck up. It's not a comfortable
right. Mind. Yes.
People are very comfortable saying, nah, the other person is the problem. Motherfucker, there's only two. Like there's a lot of times that might be the problem. How you approach a conversation, how you communicated a feeling and expectation, that could be part of the problem. And it's important for children to feel like they can work on that early on.
Yeah.
I will equate it to sports. You know who's a fantastic athlete? The motherfuckers who worked on it since they were kids.
Yeah.
So if we have a skill we want to develop, why wait until you're 18 and you're comfortable with your kid dealing with death, Trail of Tears, and all the things you're trying to hold back from them, and then suddenly fucking shock their system?
I agree. That's a good. I never thought of. I like that analogy with the sports. Yeah, you're right.
Imagine, I've never worked out in my life, and then at 16, I decide I want to be a football player. I am behind the 8 ball from everyone else. Okay, I have to work 3 times as hard. I'm more prone to injury. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to catch up. I might end up rejecting and never being good at this because I'm so frustrated that I'm far behind. So I'm going to shut down communication in this example. I'm going to shut down how I deal with people. I'm going to not adjust. Everyone else is the problem. It's not me. And then you might also succumb to making excuses like, well, I've always had this. God,
you get defensive. You don't own it. There's no accountability. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of psychological things that go on, but for those who are uncomfortable with that conversation, I equate it to sports. Marshawn Lynch did not become a great future Hall of Fame running back because they started at 16. If he did, hey, I'm not saying it's impossible to work on.
It's just less likely. Yeah, you're less likely to build that.
You're dealing with a negative balance, boo boo. Like, I'm sorry, you can't come into this conversation being like 17 steps ahead and it's like wondering why everyone's ahead. They started. Right. We're going to take a quick break because it seems like my glass is empty and Tia's is as well. So
this is growing on me. This is.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah. It's growing on me. It started a little harsh, but
I told you. You got to trust me, man. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Hi, guys. We are back. We took a quick break in. Tia's bartender was behind, so it took a little bit longer. Roman, do better, okay?
Do better. Do better.
Do better, Roman. No, all jokes. Roman already hates me because I keep fucking him up in fantasy football. Listen.
I hear about it. So this week I'm playing Arthur.
Are you serious? Jesse told me the time that they met, and the first thing he brings up is like, Arthur, this motherfucker.
That sounds right. Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think I surprised a lot of our people in our league because I suddenly just became really good at it. It was because it finally became one of my small, like I had less and less leagues. So I got to pay attention to it. I had like 10 leagues at some point.
But even when you had a bunch of leagues, you were kind of kicking ass because I would hear about it a lot during football season. Yeah, Arthur's kind of fucking everybody up.
It was so much fucking fun because I would do this every week. I would share a gift from the show, the movie The Craft, about witchcraft. Saying, I'm praying my team destroys all of you. Like sage.
I love it. Yeah, no, I hear a lot about fantasy football during football season.
Yeah, so does my fiance. This year was the first time she didn't really hear too much about it. And she's like, oh, I thought you just weren't really into it. Like, no, you're in school. She's in school for radiology. Like, I'm just in a corner somewhere, minding my business, trying not to frustrate you. Because I love her so much. But her during this time, she's easily like, meh, and just frustrated. Like,
I get it. Going to, and I can't even imagine radiology school. Like, I can't even imagine. But going to school and having to maintain a relationship, a household, and just do anything adult in any which way or form is shitty. Like, this is why kids, you should go to school
early
when you're in your teens and 20s.
If you want to do something that requires an education, like a formal education, do it young.
Do it early. Before kids, before a significant other, before you have real responsibilities, jump in.
If you want to go into trade school, do that shit early. If you want to do anything, do it early because
it's just so much harder. It's so much harder. And it's one obstacle after the other. And it's just,
And there's a little bit of, and I'm going to say this as just like, not even the responsible thing, right? When you're older, you can't have as much fun. When you're younger, you could make some mistakes and do some stupid shit and your body recovers faster. And you have those life experiences and you're less likely to randomly cheat on your significant other because you were a whore early on. I'm going to say that because it's kind of true.
What? How'd you go there?
Because I'm going to tell you why. I've heard stories about people like, oh, my high school sweetheart, I've been with them since I was like, yeah. And then suddenly he's like, yeah, you find out she has had an affair. He's had an affair, like all this stuff. It's like, I never got to be young. Be young, dummy.
Yeah.
Be young. Do the life experience.
I'm sorry to all high school sweethearts that are still together. I don't believe in that shit.
No, I don't either.
I don't believe in that shit. I think that you need time to grow apart. I think maybe you guys find each other in the future, but if you met in high school and you were together since high school, there's a lot of growing that needs to happen, or that does happen just organically. It happens and you're not always aligned. Anyway, whatever.
Yep. Hey, to each their own. If that's what works for you, the school just don't look through each other's phones. God, I'm going to say one last mean joke. It's just, I hope no one each their own. But anytime I see randomly a couple join Facebooks, one of them cheated.
Oh, like when they have a joint account?
When it went from not joint to suddenly joint, I'm like,
who was it? I just want to know who it was. I just want to know the backstory.
Who had a hidden DM?
Let us in. That's it. We're invested.
Yeah, I'm I'm here with popcorn. I'm invested. It's the same as reality shows. I just want to know what happened. Jacob, talk to me about it.
Who was it?
Yeah, which one got fucked up? Someone's going to listen to this and be like, Arthur's a piece of shit. I'm not
you're gonna get cut off.
Facebooks. Stop it. Shit. But enough of that. I want to talk about, the elephant in the room is like, why did I get invited to your wedding, bro? I'm just
Oh man, I know. Oh man, join the
wait, no, because we're gonna go. I want to be funny about it because hey, tell us about how you met Roman.
No, okay. So we just both happened to be out at a bar, and he saw me from
we're lying.
He saw me from across the room. It was obviously love at first sight, and
okay.
We lived happily ever after.
Now let me go look at where's someone's a liar button. Hold on. Go on.
I hope you don't have a liar button.
You might have a liar button. You'd be funny. Oh wait.
That's pretty good.
So.
No, okay. All right. The real story is you had come into town. Mm-hmm. You were visiting New York for a weekend. I had been on like a drinking binge for almost 2 weeks, out almost every night. I don't know how I managed this. And on the one night that I decided to stay in, Arthur messages me and he's like, well, I'm only here this weekend. You have to come out. Everybody's coming out. We're going to meet at this bar that everybody was going to. Like it was our regular bar. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm staying home tonight. I'm not coming in. And he guilted me, of course. And I went out. And on said night, I met
my other friends was invited out. Who was that?
One of you. It was my current husband. Mm. It was my Romy. Mm. He was out, and I remember that towards the end of the night, after intense flirting with Roman, I approached you and I was like, "Hey, who's he?" And you said something to the effect of "off limits, don't do it." And that was just like an invitation. We're not going to get it.
Yeah, but it wasn't because I didn't like him. I just want to be clear.
You thought he was great. He was just unavailable or something, whatever.
Yeah. I just want to be clear. I liked
There was Roman. A technicality.
I just want to be clear. It wasn't off limits like he's a bad person. I think
there was some technicality. He wasn't available or something, blah, blah. Clearly, I don't need a second. I've arrived.
All I'm saying is they didn't talk shit about Roman. I just want to be clear.
No. Right. You said he's great. He's been a longtime friend, but no, Tia, no,
unavailable. And then I left back home.
Yeah.
And that's when random stuff started happening.
What do you mean?
No.
That same night, Roman and I exchanged numbers, and like we were inseparable ever since. He's my best friend. I'll give you credit. I hate to do it, but I'll give you credit.
Wait, what was it that you're giving me?
Credit.
All right. For those of you who don't know, I am pretty undefeated in matchmaking somehow.
How many? What's your record now? Where are you sitting?
I've made 4 relationships happen. 2 of them are related.
I want to hear more about that.
On a later time, that's not recorded.
Yeah. We'll put a pin in that.
2 of them are all related. You know of Jesse and Nydia. So
yeah.
That was a funny one because it happened to be because of dinosaur suits.
Confusion.
What?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Right. So
what do you mean dinosaur?
At some point, Nydia, which I praise her for this because I think it's a really big move to say, hey, look, I am committed to try to find someone. And I know a friend who is a nerd and kind of like, I want to ask him if he knows anyone because I would like to have someone I could trust help me find someone I can trust because dating scenes are tough, right? Which I have
That's what I hear.
Which I have
what's going on out there?
I don't fucking know.
Theory? You have a theory on it?
I have a theory, but that's for a different day. I think about dating scenes. Like a little bit about because there's an instant gratification about dating, swiping. You're always going to have a constant like dopamine hit, and people really love the early stages. And we talk about the lustrous stages of relationships. Okay. It's the same thing as like everything early on is great. So if all I have to do is swipe right or left and decide that I'm going to have that great feeling over and over and over and over and over and get the highest amount of hits of like dopamine, it's like a drug.
Yeah.
You constantly have just something else. There's someone else. There's something else.
That's so Interesting.
You could
You know what? It
you could
tracks.
chase it.
It tracks.
It's like doom scrolling, but for sex. Like if you do it right, it's kind of true. You can do the early stages of a relationship and really just be on your best behavior for the first 3 months, and then, hey, look, we really had fun, but I got to go on and go have fun again, because there's always someone out, especially in big cities.
Right.
If you're single and you're just chasing that high, like there's not a lot of incentive to like.
I'm so glad I avoided that whole, like I missed that whole like swiping stage, the whole apps, because it sounds fucked. Like I'm hearing a lot of single friends talk about it, and it sounds fucked.
We'll get there. But so Nydia hits me up and she's like, hey, do you have any nerdy friends? And blah, blah, blah. And I didn't, not how people were cool, but I don't keep track of who you are as a human being, right?
Right.
And at that time, I was on this, I had a couple of buddies that were on their fitness journeys. One, he's a marathon runner who can't lift weights because he just runs from his problems his whole life. John, he's a big listener. I love him. So he knows that this joke is just jokes. But he's always been an endurance athlete. He wants to start lifting weights. I am the weightlifter, big, strong dude for no good reason. Like I just want to move a car if I needed to. I don't know. What the fuck? What if my fiance suddenly puts on 100 pounds? I need to still be able to toss her around. So benching as much as I can and squatting as much as I can is a life choice. Fuck you. So he hits me up. And then a buddy of mine, Jesse, he's like, hey, look, I'm trying to, self-development, growth.
Okay.
Focus on my future. He's had some health concerns, blah, blah. So Nydia is hitting me up and it's like, oh, do you have any nerdy friends? Blah, blah. And I was like, I gotta dig into who Nydia is, right? I gotta go look before I start setting her up with some people that I like. Because I don't know if she's fucking out there being Dexter from that show.
Nydia's the sweetest. She's so fucking sweet. I love Nydia.
I didn't do the research. I ain't just out there just trusting. Like,
yeah,
I was like fucking.
You want to make sure that they're compatible, also. Yeah,
but every ex you had died. How? I have questions. How do they just all randomly die while you're on vacation? Where are you going? So whatever. So I look at her page, and on her page, she has this image of her in an inflatable dinosaur suit while she's at a Comic-Con.
That sounds right. That's Nydia.
At that time, Jesse is driving around with 2 inflatable dinosaur suits. And every time I've asked Jesse why you have that, you never know. Oh, fuck.
Were they inflated in the car? Like, were they blown
No, they had
out?
a pump there, an electronic pump with batteries, so he could just inflate them like in a heat of a moment. Like he could just be like, it turns
on the fly. Just, I need a dinosaur.
Yeah, fucking break in case of emergency, dinosaur suit. Let's fucking go. Which actually helped that one of my nieces, her birthday party was a Jurassic Park theme. He's like, I have suits in the car. If someone else wants to get in, I was like, I'll get in one right now. Let's go. There's a video.
Amazing. It's amazing.
And Jesse's a massive nerd. So I'm looking at this picture of this girl in a fucking dinosaur suit. It's like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way in hell. Long story short, I connect them and Jesse's on this whole, well, I don't know. She's not as super responsive as I think. Blah, blah. I'm like, you're also really soft, Jesse. I love you. You're really like, hey, you're not used to like people being distant. She's very independent. Like I'm traveling by myself. I'm doing this stuff for myself. Blah, blah, blah. She also doesn't know you. When she's in town, connect, but you're fine. Jesse's listening to this. You're fine. You know, I said these things to your face. Don't
trust the process, Jesse. Trust the process.
Trust the process. Hang out with her. She's like, oh, do you want to go to the music festival? I was like, no, motherfucker. I don't want to be a third wheel to pay $200. No, I'm not going to. Are you paying for it? No, I'm not going. Whatever. Long story short, they end up meeting. They're engaged. He moved across the fucking country for her, and they're happily ever after traveling to places I've never even thought about going to. Yeah. So Jesse went from a dude that never really left Florida to now fucking going all around the world with this woman and living in the biggest city possible when he went from Florida boy to this. So yeah, you're welcome, Tia and Nydia and Jesse.
I appreciate you. I won't say you introduced us. You didn't introduce us. You didn't really match me.
I didn't introduce you.
I won't say that was an introduction. So no shit. Listen, Steven, our friend Steven.
Did I not introduce you right there?
I wouldn't say he was just there.
Why do you just don't want to give me credit for it? Because I'm undefeated right now.
All right. I'll give it to you. You got it.
Steven pushed it, didn't he?
No, he didn't. Steven didn't push it. I remember Steven mentioning him, and I was like, "Who?" Like I didn't know who Roman was. I didn't. At first, initially, the first interaction was me outside. At the time, I was a smoker. You remember? Mm-hmm. And I was outside. I bummed a cigarette off of Roman, who was standing outside with Steven. Roman leaves. Steven goes, yeah, Roman, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, who? He was like, the guy you just got a cigarette from. I was like, never heard of him. I don't know who that is. And then later in the night, I definitely spotted him.
But I wasn't invited to the wedding. So listen.
Oh. No. Can I explain that?
Go on.
Okay.
I don't think you were
the
ready.
Silence was killing me.
It was during the pandemic too. I know.
It was during the pandemic. We had originally planned this ginormous event. We had 170 people on the list. And then the pandemic hits, shuts everything down, and we have to find a new date. We find a new date. We had to cancel that date. Found a new date. And it was up in the air because it was either going to be at the bar that we met at that night or, for a split second. Like, I'm talking about a month before my wedding. We were still like grappling whether we're going to stick with our original venue or do Jake's. But Jake's was capping us at 30 people. And I was like, I'm never going to get away with it. The venue was capping us at 50. And I had to make some tough decisions. And you were out of state, and I felt really guilty about asking you to fly. I know that was a thing for you at the time too.
Oh, I hate flying. I didn't
want to.
I'm high as a kite every flight, but I don't care. I was gone.
So then I had regrets. I did have regrets. I remember saying it to Roman, like I should have given you the opportunity to say no. But I didn't want to put pressure on you to fly into the city. I didn't want to put you at risk for getting sick. Like for a week after our wedding, I was just like, please don't let anybody, let everybody be safe. I hope no one got sick. And that's how that happened. And I'm sorry. And I love you. And don't worry about it. The renewal is going to be lit. It's going to be everybody.
Oh, good. You're getting me bottles from Texas. That's a first step in making amends. First step.
All right. I appreciate that. I will buy my way back into your heart.
I can be bought. I can be bought. For all you motherfuckers out there, it's like, I can't be bought. You haven't found the right price.
You have a price.
You have a price. Everyone has a price. Shut up. No, there's no hard feelings. I completely understood. It's a big city. It's all those things going on at once. And that was one of the things that my fiance feared. She's like, are you gonna be safe? I'm like, I'm gonna spray people in the face with Lysol. I got it. Let's go. Yeah, but no, you had to make the decisions. And anyone who's ever planned a wedding, I don't take it personally. Like it doesn't.
Holy shit.
I mean, it doesn't help Roman's case when I say that he hates me. It doesn't help his case when he's like, no. Beat you once or twice in fantasy football and you fucking uninvited. That's
it. Done. He's dead really to me. Petty. Can't come.
Beat him in one playoff and he's just like, me. Listen, uninvite that motherfucker. No, yeah, I'm not, no hard feelings. And I get it. You have to make those cuts. I know even my friend, Amanda, she recently was married. I was her, I guess, man of honor.
Okay. That's fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was really, really weird because you have to really reaffirm to everyone in the audience that you're not the gay best friend and you're not related. So it's just like, hey, random dude in the wedding party. That's my female fiance. Not that I have a problem. I don't care what you judge me on, but people are like making a lot of stories.
All right.
And I'm like, hey, so why are you cool with her? What's the question? What do you want to ask me? Like, just ask the question.
Get to it.
But she told me that afterwards that she ended up spending like $35K type of shit. And I was like, what?
It's brutal.
Per plate price, all that stuff. Like, no, man. And picking venues that could house all those people and understanding that, hey, you have to kind of cut this down to people who won't mind not being invited.
Right.
People that 100%, like you got to have your family. You got to have the core group of friends that are right in the city. You got to have so no hard feelings. Unless you don't give me those bottles, then the hard feelings are all the way back up.
Then we're back.
I'm trashing shit with the moment I go to New York.
No, it was really hard. I struggled with that. There were people who chose not to go that we really wanted there, and they chose not to go for their own safety. So it was really tough. But
I could have left that out because that meant that there was an empty seat. I was just,
no, we just grabbed people off the street at that point, just invited them in.
Let's bask in this moment where I still didn't even get the empty seat.
It was a full house. Everybody came.
This is some bullshit.
People were standing in the background. We didn't have enough chairs.
Yeah, that's the picture. You guys heard this. All good. So, but with that life, pandemic life, getting married, having a house in fucking Maryland, which was out of nowhere, but I'm assuming you have people that tell us about why you ended up in a fucking small city before we jump into what you know, all the teaching and all the stuff?
Yeah, pandemic.
Pandemic was just like, fuck it.
It pushed us out. So we had considered moving to this part of Maryland for several years. My sister lives nearby. My brother was stationed here at the time. And every time we came to, we used to come visit about every 6 months or so. Every time we came visit, we would go to an open house. We'd go check out like a model home. So we became familiar with parts of the town that we're in or the city that we're in. We got familiar with like the builders and like their style of houses. So for years we'd been looking at it and going like, okay, not yet. But we'd been preparing to make purchase. And then the pandemic hit. And I go right to final destination, right? I have no in between. I'm like totally chill. And then I go right to like, we're dying here. We've got to go now. And I remember having that conversation with Roman, like, at what point do we go? Right? Like we always talk all this shit about like when shit hits the fan, we're out of here, right? We're getting the hell out of Dodge. We were looking for ways to once they extended the lockdown through like I think it was like the end of the summer or something. At that point, I was like, we're fucked. I'm teaching virtually for the rest of the year. I will not stay in that apartment with 2 kids through the summer. Like I was like, we will not survive this.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay. And we were looking at Airbnbs. Everything was crazy priced, like $3,000-$4,000 for the month. And then once you start doing the math, it's like, wait a minute, we can just invest into a home of our own and figure it out from there. And that's what we did. We actually bought our house without ever setting foot in it. We hadn't seen it in person.
Wait, no. You bought a house without ever actually seeing it.
We saw it online. We had a realtor come and do a virtual walkthrough.
What in the DoorDash homes?
Dude. And what gave us a little bit of peace of mind is that it's a new construction. So we were pretty confident that, right, it would be okay, right? Like it'd be fine. Everything's new. We sent my sister to do like a drive through the neighborhood just to make sure that it's a nice neighborhood. And everything checked off. So we were like, fuck it. But we had looked at several houses online within a month. And then we were like, we need to close on this house as fast as possible. Like we gave them like a month.
Prices were going high too.
Oh, no. We got like, we got it right at the sweet spot. Like it was, our interest rates were the lowest and it was the sweet spot. We got a bunch of incentives. So it felt like we'd been preparing for years for this thing. And then when it was time to pull the trigger, even though we were kind of pressured into it, we were ready. But literally, I remember us driving. We drove down and his sponsorship was in the car. We had the kids in the back and we're coming over these hills. There's nothing but cows and horses and cornfields, every fucking direction you look. And Roman and I just looked at each other and we were like, oh my God, we fucked up. Like, what did we do? And that's it. We were pulling up. So like, we were pulling up to sign papers. Like it was to do the walkthrough and the closing. We did both things on the same day. Like it was insanity.
Bro.
We left the kids at the house. Like we've left Jaden with the little one at the house so we can drive out and do the closing. I had stuff ordered my sister's house and they just like backed the truck up into our garage and dumped like air mattresses, sheets, pillows. I mean, you name it. We came with the clothes. We came with clothes during that move. And this wasn't even like our official move. This was just to make it through the summer, apparently, right? Because we had decided at that point that we would go back and forth because our jobs were still in New York.
How long of a drive was that?
4 hours. And we would do no. So it became rough because I was still working in the city, but the city schools were closing, or our school was closing all the time, right? Every time there was an outbreak of COVID, you got to close down for X amount of days. So I would just come back to the house for however long, or like, it was just bad. Like I had 1 week on, 1 week off for some time. So we would do that. And then he would stay here with the kids. He was working virtually. And it was hard. We spent a year like that, going just back and forth, and we'd come on long weekends and we'd go back to New York,
That
and
must
then
be
finally at the
exhausting.
end of the year, it was crazy. It was nuts. I can't even believe it. That was real life. Yeah. And then at the end of that year, when I finished the school year, literally the next day, like the moving truck pulled up and we packed all our shit and said goodbye to 138th Street.
Bro, I've been to that apartment so many goddamn times in my life too.
Oh my God. I was remembering the water balloon fight, the full on water balloon fight that we had inside that apartment.
Yo.
I don't know how I didn't get murdered by my mother. Like she never knew. And if
Yo.
she did, she held it. And mommy holds nothing. So I don't believe she ever found that. We had a full on, like, I mean, water balloon after water balloon.
There are a lot of people who ask me like, oh, because I'm really comfortable just talking to random people and strangers, not really, like typically unfathomable. Like I'm just like, oh, whatever. Hispanic old school Dominican moms trained me really hard to just get yelled at. Your mom was always scary and I loved her.
Yeah, no, she was terrifying.
Descendant's mom, scary, loved her. My mom, scary to everyone else but me. She just annoys the hell out of me. Like, still
I loved her. Listen, your mom was such a trooper. Now, as a parent who's gone through a teenager, and Jaden keeps all his shit outside, right? Like he never really, his friends would come by on a special occasion. His friends are very respectful, right? They stayed in the living room. Dude, the way we would take over your apartment and the amount of kids that were stacked in your room at all times, at all hours. Like shout out to Sandra, because I couldn't be me. Having all these fucking kids all the time in the house couldn't be me.
I try to actually explain that to someone because I think it sounds exaggerated, but my whole life, for someone who has like I obviously have a social battery, but once it's done, I'm fucking done. And I think you've known me long enough when you've seen it, when it's done, we're like, everybody get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I've had like, my house would be full of friends. We would throw big parties. We would throw big get-togethers. We would do all these things, social. My mom always defaulted to, I'd rather know that he's doing it here. And I know that I'm watching everyone like a hawk, which as much as we always want to say, I don't want to be like my parent. I don't want to, like, I'm never going to turn out like my mom.
I love that.
One of the things I've always known is I get my keen, always sense of danger, sense of like observation skills. Like I'm always paying attention to what's going on, all that. As I got older, I'm like, I got this from her. Because she had everyone in front of her at all times. She knew
all the time
what friend wasn't trustworthy, what friend was cool, what friend blah, 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 blah. I gave her all the shit in the world. She's like, I don't like that motherfucker. I was like, why? Like, what the fuck's wrong with that person? I don't like him. I don't like this. Like, Charlie was one of the people she never liked. And she was very, and I pride myself in being very direct. I've never been as direct as my mom. And more than one occasion, she told him, you ain't shit. You ain't never going to be shit. Hopefully you get a high paying job because no woman's going to love you.
There were definitely red flags. That was definitely
something she said to his face. Like, you better hope that you could pay your way into a good relationship.
Sandra was a scary motherfucker. When she was pissed and when she was getting ready to rip into you, she was a scary mofo.
Yeah, bro. And I'm just like, what is happening here? Why are you yelling at my friends? And as I got older, I was like, oh, you picked up on who wasn't shit. All right.
Yeah.
I get that vibe. And I understood it. Like, I respect that. I won't tell her to her face. Because then she'll get big about it. She'll be like, I told you so. No, we're not doing that. You don't know shit.
It was all the time. We were always when we didn't have anywhere else to be, we just show. And then it was like we were showing up unannounced. We weren't. It wasn't like we were calling and asking permission.
People didn't have cell phones.
We were knocking on your back door. Funny enough, like you had a door that led to outside of the apartment, right in your room, and that was usually blocked off by like furniture or whatever.
I had to some point move it all for y'all.
We were just showing up. We were just showing up all the time. There was always like 5, 6 kids in there, just eating on your bed, eating in your room. We were downloading shit on your computer. We weren't particularly quiet. Everybody was loud all the time. We were just shooting the shit all the time in your house.
There are two things. My mom loved the fact that she liked all of you. To this day, she's like, Tia, come on, Tia.
I love her.
She's
aging backwards, by the way. She's got some Benjamin Button shit going on. I need her secret.
It's concerning because I worry that something is going to happen to me. I'm like, I'm just tired. I don't need to get younger. Let me be the crotchety old man, please. Just trying to get there. Fuck. No, it's really morbid. She enjoyed the fact that you guys would come over, but she always liked, because she's like, I like my family, like the household being full. I like the people being in my house. I like the people going in my house. And to her, it was always just, I would like to be also cognizant of what my child is doing.
It's brilliant. It's smart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you make your house inviting, people going to get comfortable and people are going to do the shit that they wouldn't do at home. And they're going to do it in front of you. And at some point, you're going to be like very aware of who your kid is hanging out with, right?
Yeah. And so, what they're up to, what they're doing, right? Like what they're plotting and shit. She
would, but it also kept her young at heart. Like she's always been like the fashionista. Like I want to be around all the young kids. For all those people who are listening who don't know Spanish, she wants to be around the young kids because it keeps her young. Bro, it was a really great way of knowing I'm not gonna die.
And when Sandra still slays,
bro.
Her fits.
Don't tell her that. I
tell her every chance I get. Every time I see her posting a picture, I'm like, amazing. Like I'm throwing her flowers.
Bro, all it turned into, I turned into the exact opposite. I am the most minimalist dressed dude. I got a black t-shirt, jeans, and black sneakers. Like, I'm good. And she's like, Mijo, you need to be dressed nice. I was like, the fact that you care so much makes me not want to do it. Yeah. But it was a really cool aspect of our friendship and our like childhood. Like when you think about those city apartments, to anyone who's wondering what she's talking about, a back door to an apartment. In New York City, you had fire escapes. You see those in movies. You think that that's just standard. Not every apartment has window access, bro. So guess who didn't have window access? I had a big metal door that directly left my bedroom that was seen as an emergency escape.
Mm-hmm.
In retrospect, why not just use the front door? But I guess that's the quickest of the ladder like access. I'm not ladder, stereo access.
The staircase, yeah, because it led directly to a staircase.
Which meant my friends could walk up the stairs, go, yo, and I would open the door like it's fucking Domino's. And my mom would become very aware that that was a thing. And she would start like, hey, are people coming over today so I can cook? I don't know. They just show up. I have no idea.
Yeah, we'd eat at your house. She'd always feed us. You guys always had snacks.
When I was playing football in Lawrence,
Sandra doesn't get enough credit.
Bro, she does, and she gives it to herself very often, so I'm sure it's there. No, I give her credit all the time. I remember being in Lawrence, Massachusetts, playing football, and I told her, I was like, oh, some of my friends are going to this thing. She was like, oh, they're going to have food? I was like, well, I don't know. She's like, just invite them all here. You want me to invite like 35 people to this house? She's like, yeah, I'll make food. What? And she had like this. I've never seen this giant pot of just like ground beef, ground chicken, and just like I made food for everybody. There are like 45 people in my house eating. It's like, yo, Arthur, your mom is awesome. Blah, blah, blah. I don't. And now I'm an adult. I'm like, I don't know if I could do that just on a fucking spur of the moment thing. So she deserves credit, but it also did make me into a really good party host. A really fucking good host, bro. I'm exhausted all the times, but she did it there. But the city, so you went from like that teaching system and constant paranoia, constant like this anxiety of what's next and what it looks like for your future. Like, I don't think people give it enough credit unless you live there, but it was a frightening time, right? Like
it was so scary. It was so eerie, like walking outside during that time, like, and early on, right? Like we were really on some Walking Dead shit, right? Like who's going out for a run today, for a food run today, right? Like, okay, we're running out of stuff. And which supermarket am I going to go to? Okay, I'm going to go to the supermarket down there because it's less crowded. I can scan all my own shit. I don't have to interact with a cashier. And it was usually me, just because I'm a control freak, and I was doing these runs probably like once a week and trying to figure out what we needed. And it was the streets were empty. Everything was quiet. The whole like hitting of the pans at 7:00 every day to shout out the nurses and the doctors and the hospitals.
Wait, that was happening?
That was happening. There was like a sense of community also, right? Like everybody was locked up. There was I mean, you saw things like that worldwide, right? Where there was such a sense of community all of a sudden, where people were valuing each other and respecting everyone's role in society. And that's not necessarily something that you always see in New York, right? There's every man for himself, and you just kind of very much like you have blinders on, you mind your business. You see someone laid out on the street and you have a train to catch. So you're going to keep it moving. And there was such a sense of community that came from, like, yeah, no, my train's coming. I can't stop and help you. That was cool to see. It was also really scary. Like it's just, imagine living in a building, right? There's 20 units, and at any given time, you can go downstairs and now you're with other people and you don't know what their exposure is. And like there was just so many unknowns, especially in the early days, that you're like, wait, am I safe here?
Yeah. It sucks. Understand what I'm about to say. I lived in a state that didn't see that. I live in a state where everyone is far away from each other. I live in a state that didn't believe that. So when you're thinking about like these people and I remember having more than one conversation with a friend where, like I said, it was 5 years ago where the height of it really happened, right? I'm not trying to spend too much time there, but when I'm trying to explain to people, understanding that people are stacked like sardines on top of each other. Like there was no way to ever function in an everyday society there without seeing people and being around people within 5 feet.
Right.
I remember having explained to people when you live in Florida that driving here is normal. Out there, it's stupid.
It doesn't. I didn't learn to drive until I got here.
Which is really funny because after we take this quick commercial break, I want to talk about the fact that you learned how to drive in the last 3 years. But
yeah.
So when you tell people, it's like, oh, well, they can get to work perfectly. No, bro, like you don't understand. Like the subway is everything. And the other option is taxis. So you're around a stranger who's been around 80,000 people all day.
Yeah.
Who do you think would be the number one source of you getting sick?
Yeah.
And when you're thinking about how quickly, fastly is not a word. Fastly is obviously not a word. How quickly people were getting inundated and like turning into this whole, like, I have to avoid people. I have to be like, no way, shape or form be social in a city that you can't help but be social.
Yeah. It took a long time to break out of that. It took even like post-pandemic, right? Like it took a long time to be okay in public because you were so hardwired in the city to like, just stay home. Just don't be like, at least we were not out there doing anything, right? There were people who were still living in the city and just, business as usual. But for us, that's not where our beliefs lie, right? Like,
yeah,
I know it's a very like case by case. Everybody has their own opinions, and
like I'll share what we went through here, and it like on the grand scheme of things, when you compare it to what you were going through, was almost disrespectful. There are people out here like, I'm glad the pandemic's happening because there's no traffic on the road.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to deny making the joke once or twice saying, please, Florida people, stay home because you get to work faster with your ass at home. Please, Florida people, stay at home and just fucking DoorDash all your shit because I was working in retail at the time. I was like, I'd rather deal with your dasher than you. So please, which was fucked up because I have friends and family in the city and I had to kind of like take a step back and understand that I'm in a different circumstance. My every day, I don't have to see my neighbor unless I want.
Right.
I can go years and not know who lives right next door to me.
Well, that was the contrast, right? Because we would have the house on the weekends, right? Or the long weekends, and we'd come to Maryland and we're walking around outside without a mask. And in the city, I wasn't walking down the street without a mask because the streets are so crowded. And at any given point, right? Again, we didn't know to what extent this can be contracted, right? Like we didn't know. So everybody's wearing a mask and you're outside in the middle of the street and you felt locked. You felt like you were trapped. And then coming here is like, well, mask off. And now we're walking around and we're enjoying the park again, right?
But was that a big like learning curve? Were you still like the parent at the park with like a mask? I don't know these motherfuckers.
No, if there was anyone else, it was sad. It was so sad. Again, Riley is a very active, very social kid. And she didn't set foot in a playground for 4 months. And that was so like such a contrast from what our usual lives are like. And when we came here, I remember on one of like those long weekend trips, she was up at 7 a.m. and at 7 a.m. we were out at the playground, right? Because it was the only time that I knew that it'd be empty. There'd be no one else there. And just even those social interactions, right? Like another kid would show up and she would immediately like beeline right to the other kid to like friend, right? Like a kid. So that was hard. It was hard, and it was hard for me to navigate. And everyone here was a little more lax, right? Just because I think we were on high alert coming from the city, and then everyone here was kind of like, dude, chill. Like it's not that serious.
That's how I experienced it here. Shit. Like this will probably be bonus features, so I'm saying it out loud so I can place market. Fuck it. But even during like the 9/11, I was in Massachusetts. That was the year I got to Massachusetts. I got to Massachusetts for like a year and a half and moved back to New York at some point. But everyone's like, oh my, like I remember, and this is the fucked up thing. And I hate to, I'm not going to say their names, but I remember people saying in Mass, it's like, well, that's happening over there. Like, why do we have to cancel football practice? And in my head, I'm like, I have friends and family stuck in buildings and not knowing if they're like safe. And that's because I still had a connection to the city.
Yeah.
Unless you're living it, a lot of people weren't connected to it, which is really sad. Not to go full circle to the fucking develop your kid into being an empathetic human being, you fucking weirdos, be socially aware. But I remember sitting there, it's like, like a fuck ton of people just died.
Yeah.
And you're worried about, hey, I need to learn how to pick up a block. Shut the fuck up. Your high school football career does not matter compared to the lives that just got lost.
Yeah, that was another time. Yeah, you're right. That was another time that the city kind of was a really bizarre time, and it stopped being what it was for a second. Like the whole city took a pause, and it was eerie. It was eerie being in the city. You can feel that the whole city was grieving, and
there were scary points in between. Obviously, like
right.
I think everyone goes into some kind of fright, but it's just really just a random thought, not related to anything whiskey, not to related to anything teaching, but it's an interesting thought that people are so disconnected from the world, even though that information is right in front of you and you're sitting time and you're going like, oh, well, that doesn't really impact me. I still need to go to Walmart. Like, what do you mean you're out of eggs? Bitch, there's a fucking pandemic. Go home, hug your kid.
Like, no. I couldn't. I would see people just being out and about and like at bars, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, am I crazy? Am I crazy?
No, Florida had, you wouldn't have known this, but Florida and a couple of these like country states had multiple articles that came out where like city officials were abusing their power to get haircuts. During like, hey, everything's locked down, no one functions, no one be around each other, and people like you find out like this city councilwoman, her roots were showing, so she made her hairstylist go in during a lockdown where everyone's supposed to stay away from each other, so she can get dyed her hair done. Yeah, this really happened.
Florida never disappoints.
Florida disappoints every single day. That's what you think, and
I was being nice about it. Okay?
Every single day I'm disappointed. Every single day I'm disappointed. I love you guys. I love my friends here. I love all that, but I'm never shocked when I see an article about some random shit. Alligator bit by a panda and 2 people shot this film. What?
Yeah.
That had to be in Florida. Oh, fuck, Cape Canaveral. Okay.
Florida never
Could it not be here, please? Like, pretty please. Guys, we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to wrap up soon. I know, Tia, you have a whole ass family you need to get back to. So you want to come back with the second cocktail and we'll go through that and finish up. Get you for another like 20 minutes?
I'm good.
She's like, I don't give a shit. I don't have to be
I'm drunk. Yeah, fuck them kids. What kids?
Fuck them kids. Business, we had some side off conversations, but it's a bunch of friends catching up since the wedding I never made it to. What I really want to get into though is, since we talked a lot about you getting into education and we went to school together, was there ever a teacher that you ran into or encountered that you're like, that's who I want to be? Or fuck with that teacher that stood out there, like maybe being an educator isn't the worst thing in the world?
No, not so much that's who I want to be, but I understood her once I became an adult and I was in a classroom. Miss Torres, she was borderline abusive.
Teacher. Fucking love her.
She was a beast of a woman, right? Like just the toughest motherfucker out there. Shout out to Miss Torres, wherever she may be. I know she retired a couple of years ago. She was just such a badass and she didn't mince words. It's like, she must have had tenure because she said some real out of pocket shit to us. I remember she made
different generation too. Let's be clear. You couldn't say that shit today.
So fun fact, Miss Torres was actually my brother and my sister's teacher at a different school when I was born. So my brother and my sister are 12 and 13 years older than me. So she had all three of us. That's why
no wonder she retired.
Dude, she just retired a few years ago. Once I arrived in her classroom and she saw that I was such a problem because let's be real, I was an issue. I was an issue in middle school and high school. Miss Torres was really comfortable with me and my family. So the 6 a.m. phone calls that my parents got from Miss Torres were something else. Like some of the shit that she said to them, some of the shit that she said to us in the classroom, I can appreciate her realness. I know that it was coming from a place of love. Now I know that, right? At the time, we were like, what the fuck is up her ass, right? I know that she nurtured us, right? Like she was very nurturing in her own way, right? Like a little rough, and she gave it to us straight. And I think that my style of teaching, I've taken notes from that, right? So like that, I've definitely taken notes from that. My kids, I'm tough, and I tell the parents from day one, like, listen, I don't look around, right? Like I don't care that your kid is 5. We're gonna be held accountable for our actions. We're gonna be held to a higher standard. And if there's an issue, I'm gonna reach out to you and we're gonna work together, right? Like whether you like it or not, we're gonna figure the shit out. So I think I've taken a book out of Miss Torres's page in that regard. Like they're my kids, right? When they're in the classroom, those are my children, and I treat them no different than I would treat my children. Another one was Mr. Fernandez. Mr. Fernandez was so much fun. He was so sweet. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
He was so nurturing.
That's such a heartbreak moment.
Oh fuck! It was so rough. Like, he impacted so many lives, right? Like he was the guy who was always there to listen to us, right? Like the one who always saw us.
He was our Mr. Rogers. Fernandez would always find the good in whatever you were doing.
Seriously, like even when you were a hot mess express, like Mr. Fernandez found a way of going like, hey girl, this is what you're going through right now. Like he was such a gentleman. He really just created, like, there was this community and this relationship that he had with each individual student that I don't even know how he found the time or the energy to follow up with, right? Like he was a part of
he would
everything.
Remember everything
from us.
Yeah. Later, it's like, well, what happened with this? Like, how the fuck?
Everything, right? And he understood that we were all going through growing pains, that we were all like these tweens, that we didn't know if we were coming or going, right? We were all lost. And he really took the time to get to know us individually, to guide us through, and to make it okay for us to make mistakes, right? Like for us to be ourselves and just like, you fucked up, move on.
Yeah.
So I think those are the two that really like impacted my teaching style, I guess.
I like that because those two were some of my favorite teachers. Mr. Fernandez, because obvious reasons, he's a saint. I couldn't name a single thing wrong with that man.
Nothing.
There was never a negative interaction.
And like years later, right? Like as adults, he was always just following up with us and keeping tabs on all of this. And like hundreds of like decades of students.
To like reunions. Like unofficial reunions were just supposed to be students, but we would invite, like, imagine being a teacher so loved, you're invited to the reunion and no one else is. That's not easy. Hey, we're all grown adults. We want Fernandez there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, tell us how we sucked to be around. Like, and he would never do it.
I've met people who weren't his students, who just met him through like whatever their own experiences. And also, like, he was an outstanding person in every area of his life.
It's unfortunate, like, rest in peace, like we said. It's unfortunate that he got taken from us sooner than he needed to be, because he was such a fucking delight. And if I ever fucked up and had kids, shouts to the AKA mistake. I would have wanted them to be around someone like him.
That's the person you want to be guiding your child at school, to be keeping an eye on your kid, right? Because he was always there. He was always there to whisper at you, like, "Hey, chill the fuck out."
Wasn't always a whisper. Sometimes he had to tell you you're an idiot. So shouts to Fernandez for like straight up, like no jokes. We joke around a lot, but like rest in peace. That's the kind of person that stands out and shapes you.
Yeah.
Like, their teachers, Miss Torres, tough love. You could, like you said, when we're older, we could appreciate what the fuck she was doing for us. Because there is a version of me at 20 that was an idiot, let alone 13, 12, 14 in a big city where you think you know everything.
That's a whole different episode.
Oh, that's a whole ass.
How I fucked up in my teen.
Oh, we could do fucking tons of content on.
Then we'll have the follow up. How I fucked up in my 20s.
Yeah, bro. And that's what's wild. Like we joke, there's jokes online about my parents in their 20s. Like, I have 6 kids and we bought a home with $13. It's like now it's like in my 20s. I don't know if I'm committed to, I'm, in the right space to commit to having a house plant.
Right. Right. Oh man. This new generation. I sound like a boomer, right? Like this new generation. And I have a 20-year-old, and this motherfucker was complaining about the professor for one of his classes not explicitly reminding them that they had an assignment due when it was on the syllabus. And I was like, bro, was it on the syllabus? And he was like, yeah, but still, she should have like sent something out. And I'm like, no. Put yourself together. Yeah, you're an adult. Read the fucking syllabus.
I have an online syllabus. I had a piece of paper that I had to make sure was posted somewhere. I only had one copy because no one had printers. God, I'm old. Wow, we're old. It's just one piece of paper. It's like, this is due that day. You got to remember the day by like calendars, not just look at your phone. Oh God, yeah. We got to stop aging ourselves.
I'm embracing it. I like 40. I have less fucks. No fucks to give. I can say whatever I want.
To be fair, I ran out of fucks in like mid 20s. Like the supply demand was not really where it should have been.
People are less mad about it now that you're 40. Right?
Yeah, people were mad all the time, which was mildly more entertaining. like how could you not care? You care way too much. I think it balances out. Like one of us has to care less. If not, there's two fucks to give. Like it's a surplus of fucks, which is a problem. In your a surplus of fucks. That's going to be the episode.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
Please do. Tag the show.
I've got a fuck surplus.
I got a whole ton of fucks, and it's a surplus. I need to be able to give them to somebody.
I love it. I'm going to use this.
Or we are on a trade embargo, and there's no fucks to give. I apologize. Please reach out to your state representative for more fucks. Listen, so when you've been educating for a while, easily over 10 years, was there ever a moment that you're like, do I need to do this? Do I want to do this? We've had, and I'm going to use examples. We've had friends that are nurses and doctors and ex-military. I've had friends that shared being in a closet crying because they lost a patient, or moments you're like, I don't want to do this. This is not worth what I'm doing. And they had a coming to Jesus moment. Have you had those?
Yeah.
Highlight.
Yeah. So for me, interestingly enough, I had been teaching for a long time already, again, private school, younger children. And right as I finished my degree, my education degree, and got certified to teach in a public school, I spent a semester student teaching. That's when you go into the classroom, you spend an entire semester working alongside a veteran teacher, and they kind of show you the ropes and they let you do your thing, and you're designing lesson plans, and you've got like a lot of hands-on stuff with the classroom. You're teaching essentially just under someone else's guidance. And I remember seeing how cookie cutter some of these teaching programs were. I remember seeing just how much the administration, right, principals, assistant principals, have their hand in this shit when they're not in the classroom, right? How many opinions they have, or how they're trying to micromanage how you teach. I remember being frustrated with like the material that we're teaching. Like this isn't it. And I fell into the deepest depression right after. And like, needless to say, I had been in school forever. I had been raising a kid for part of that by myself. I was a single parent for a long time before Roman jumped in, right? And we tag teamed this mission. Um, and for the first time, right, as sure as I was forever that I wanted to teach, for the first time I was looking at the education system and looking at a school. I was student teaching at a school in Washington Heights. And I was like, we're fucked. I'm not sure I can do this, right? Like the teaching model and the philosophy behind this place, at least, right? And it sounds like many other places, does not align with my beliefs and the way that I think that education should be, right? So it's like, did I fuck myself? Did I just spend the last however many years chasing this thing, and now I'm realizing that maybe it's not for me? And I was like bedridden, like the deepest depression, bedridden for weeks, trying to figure out like how, first of all, right? I had been a stay-at-home parent and student for 4 years. So how do I tell Roman that I don't know if I want to do this? Um, I'm supposed to jump back into the workforce, and I don't know if I want to, and will I find the right school for me? So that was a really difficult time. And then, right, like just icing on the cake, I jumped into this school. Again, it was a progressive school, and their philosophy is amazing, to the point that I was second guessing myself as a teacher, right? Like, do I have what it takes to be good at this place, right? You lose confidence in what you can do, especially when you see like
Imposter
this is the way
syndrome?
we do it. Mm?
Like almost like an imposter syndrome.
A little bit, right? Like, and and I remember like jumping into the school. I had this amazing professor, and he took me under his wing, and he became my mentor. And he had worked at this school, at this progressive school. He was like, just come check it out and see what we do here. And it was like a dream. It was like a dream, like seeing how it was a well-oiled machine, and just some of the things that they were pushing, and like some of the stuff that I was telling you about earlier, um, holding children accountable, setting boundaries with children, creating community in the classroom, right? Like just having them engage with each other. Kids do not know how to do that these days. They don't. They don't know how to collaborate. They don't know how to speak to each other. They don't know. They just don't. They're not communicating their needs. They're not like none of it, right? They're entitled. Ugh, they're all fucking entitled. They think they all deserve all of the things. They are. Um,
I'm not disagreeing
and
with you, but remember when we talked about sounding more and more like boomers? Go on.
seriously, right? I'm aging myself. But and then you learn how to create that community in the classroom. And I jumped into this place with so much doubt in myself. And then I was met with like a really toxic environment with the staff, right? Like it was they were gatekeeping a lot of like, oh, this is what we do here, and like you just got to think about it and know, and you got to develop it yourself, and we're not going to help you with that. And it's like, wait, you've been doing it for a while. Why would you not share that? And I hit a wall. I hit a wall, and I was like, maybe this isn't for me. Because now this is back to back experiences, right? At this, I was student teaching at the school, going like, I don't believe in that philosophy. I don't believe in this like rigid, traditional, right? We're teaching from the book thing. But then this loosey goosey place where we're having hands on experiences, and it's student led learning, and it's this beautiful thing. The student and the teaching part of it was amazing. But then everything that was happening behind the scenes was really toxic, and it was like chipping away at me and my confidence, which was already shattered from like that previous experience.
Yeah.
And there was a moment there where, and it was in the midst, right? Like in the midst of this like life changing experience of like moving out of the city, leaving my childhood apartment. So it's in the middle of all of that. And I remember having that moment and that conversation with Roman of like, maybe this isn't it. And I think I need a second. So I was done for a second. I was weighing my options and seeing what I needed to do.
What brought you back?
um, I took
Outside of necessity.
So no. It was a necessity.
Good, good.
We were in a comfortable place. We were in an okay place. We had just been in Maryland. We had spent this for first summer here,
Mhm.
and now school was starting. We sent the kids back to school, and Roman and I had a field day. We had 2 months where it was just he and I at home, and we had a fucking blast. Just shipping the kids off. I mean, day drinking and just like going out to lunch. And I had decided at that point, I'm taking a year off, and I'll decide we're going to live off our savings, and I'm taking a year off, and I'll decide what we do at the end of the year. And then I got bored like 8 weeks in.
It didn't even take maybe not even 3 months.
I got bored. I mean, like, like we were
Yeah,
having fun,
you're
but
not
it's like,
drinking right.
how much, right, exactly. Like, how much can I really drink in the middle of the week? What can I really do? And I started
States.
just, started throwing applications out there, and it wasn't with necessarily with the intent of going back to work. It was more to practice my interview skills. And it was more to like see what's out there. I was playing. I was literally playing. And then I came across, I remember I had a couple of interviews, right? Everybody was hiring me on the spot. And it was amazing, right? Like that really like I felt good about myself. Mm. And then there was this one interview, and I'll never forget. Roman and I were watching TV upstairs, and I got the email that they wanted to interview with me. And they hadn't gotten back to me. Like we had a back and forth. They were supposed to get back to me with a time. They didn't confirm the time. So I was literally like upstairs in a messy bun and a sweatshirt. And then they were like, hi, we're like, here's the link to our meeting. See you in 5. And I was like, I was annoyed. I was annoyed with them, right? And then on this link, there were like 12 people on the link, and I had already been through that experience of interviewing. That's a red flag for me at this point, right? Whenever I have an interview and there's more than like 2, 3 people on a link or in the room, it's a red flag. I'm like, there's too many people involved. There's something's wrong with in house. There were like 12 people in this fucking link. They were late on the
Whoa.
link, and I literally came down. It was like typical like pandemic shit, right? I had like sweatpants on, and I put on a collared shirt and threw my hair like in a neat bun, and like put on some like earrings, and I was intrigued. And like once I started talking to them, I was really intrigued. They offered me a position at a school. It was the only school in the county that does like biliteracy, English and Spanish biliteracy program, where they're not only are you teaching English learners for the most part, but you're also teaching in Spanish, right? So you're teaching like grammar and everything in Spanish as well, which was my first thing was like, I'm not certified for that. Like that I don't have experience. I speak Spanish, I'm fluent, but that's not what I do. And they were like, no, 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 you don't understand. Like, we've got you, and you will have a team that you're going to be working with. And this is a little bit about our school. And this is the culture of our school. And it's a Title I school, which means that they're federally funded because they serve low income families. I think it was like 95% of the population were English learners,
Mm.
mostly Spanish English learners, but also they had I think like a dozen other languages that were represented in the school.
Mm.
It's the most diverse or like just the most different school in the county. And they were offering me a kindergarten class. Everybody else had offered me like higher grades. So I was like,
You get the littles that you wanted so badly.
I get the littles that I wanted so bad. And I jumped in, and by far it was the hardest fucking year that I've ever had. They were feral. These were the first kids that were back in the classroom after pandemic. Those motherfuckers
Oh,
were feral. I'm talking about kids pissing in the field. Like just
wait, excuse me?
you take them out to recess, and these motherfuckers are just
What
like
do you mean
whipping
pissed
it
in
up.
the field? I need more. What do you mean? Why is there
Just because there's like a yard, like a schoolyard. We have a
you
big
got a
like
field like this
grassy
is a
field.
fucking go out there and be somebody?
Dude, we would send them out, and surely enough, you'd see 2 and 3 kids just whipping it out, sit in the field. They didn't know how to use the bathroom. They didn't know how to. It was every man. They were on survival mode. Like they had just, and a
It's
lot
just
of them had.
Do you think
just arrived in the country?
Like they have just not known better? Or wait, you said someone just arrived in the country, so like they're used
So
to
it was twofold.
more country shit.
It was two, and don't get it wrong. Like I mean, I'm looking at a cornfield right now. Like I'm in a very rural area.
I have no idea how you live out
there. So no, these kids were feral. They were that first year that when I jumped in, I was like, what in the fuck is happening?
Mm-hmm.
They were on survival mode almost. Like it was every man for himself. They didn't trust each other. They didn't trust me. And they were just trying to survive. Like you can tell that they've been through some shit, either in their journey coming to the United States, or because a lot of them were undocumented, or just like from pandemic, whatever the fuck went on during the pandemic for them, it was showing in the classroom. And I had a giant, like there were like 24 kids in the class, and for kindergarten, that's a lot. So that was a big contrast.
It's wild to me because you are in a rare circumstance where you get for those who don't know and might judge, some of these students are coming from third world countries where pissing in the field or just some unrefined, I guess, more country bumpkin type shit. I'll equate it to someone who's like in the rural areas of like
yeah. It's just what you do. If you're a boy, you just fucking you whip it out and you pee.
Yeah, like that shit's normal to a lot of these people in like these countries. So when they come out here, so you have not only people who are learning the language, now have to also learn the culture and etiquette, and learn the techniques of how to interact. And you are at the like, I would say, the foundation of them.
That's exactly what I say. Mm-hmm.
There is
we set the foundation for these kids, and it's like it depends on what comes in, right? Like what, again, each group is different. This group that I have right now, they are really needy. They can't emotionally, like they can't regulate their emotions, and like we've come a long way from the beginning of the school year.
Do you feel almost like a intrinsic, like you're heavily invested in making sure they're successful because you know what they might deal with later on?
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, you're not from here. I need this to work for you. And I know if I don't set you up for success, it's going to fucking suck. Do you go
100%
above and beyond because of it?
You have to. You kind of have to, no? Like these kids
from someone who lives in Florida where the education system here is kind of like check in and check out. I'm being funny. Like I know a lot of educators are caring, but you don't have to. There's a curriculum. You choose to. Let me give you credit where you might not be doing it. You choose to. Because a lot
I would be doing a disservice. Like, then what the fuck is the point? You don't
have to. Let's be clear and give educators credit where they need it.
I think that's one thing, right? Like, you can jump into education because you like summers off, because you like there's a book to read. Because that's the other thing, right? All the curriculums now, they're scripted, and you just read off the manual, and that's that.
How much further are you going than what's set in your lesson plan from the state?
You have to.
No. You feel like you have to. Let's be clear. Legally, do you have to go further?
No.
Okay. So
no, like if I stick to the script.
I'm just always tired of you teachers not giving yourself credit. I want to be your advocate. I will be the loud, angry person.
You know what it is? You know what it is? That there's so much more that you want to do, but you're tapped out.
Want and have to. By your curriculum, do you have to do what you were doing?
No, of course not. Okay. Of course not. There's certain things that I know I don't.
Give yourself credit. Give every teacher credit that's going above and beyond. I just want to be that obnoxious cheerleader.
I appreciate that.
I just want to be the obnoxious cheerleader. So every parent who's listening to this is like, my teacher no, they don't have to do shit, bro. The city said this. You are supposed to be the parent, not the rest of educators. I just want to give you credit. But
I take on the role, like my role is to obviously teach them academic content. That's not my priority necessarily.
No, you're teaching them how to be an adult and human being because half their
teaching
parents
them how to be an adult. Human. Like how to be a good person, an efficient person. competent person, right? Like life skills, I think it's and you have, that's the real foundation, right? You have to teach
There we
all of
go.
those skills before you can even get into like the academic part of it, right? Like if we don't have any of that,
I
then what
could
the fuck is the point of the rest of it?
when we talk about people being book smart versus like street smart, and
Okay.
like street smart almost makes it seem like it's not necessarily academic and nothing that you need for life. It's just how to survive in the hood. Street smart is not surviving in the hood. Street smart surviving with humans,
Yeah,
other people,
it's
like the real world.
crazy, right? And I'm seeing a lot of that. Like we see a lot of that this year for me. That's the difference between this group this year. They struggle to regulate their emotions. They don't know how to communicate with one another. They don't know how to collaborate with one another. They're entitled. And kids are generally egocentric, right? But this group is like
Oh, I'm
their
so glad
next
I
level.
said that. Kids are such egotistical little bastards. Come watch this. I don't want to, but you have to. I don't have to do
Hey,
shit, child. I'm
look
an
what I
adult.
can do. Look what I did. You didn't do shit. You didn't do
You
shit.
jumped in place. Bitch, that wasn't impressive. Go jump off something. Wait, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Your parents are going to say I said that. You're going to tell your parents I said to do that.
Don't do that, guys.
I just want to give you credit. I think I have a friend, Andy. I have a couple of friends that are educators and Kathy and all of them. You guys don't get enough credit. So if the Board of Education won't, I'm a small ass podcast, but I'm going to yell to the rooftops that teachers matter more than people give them credit for.
I
So
appreciate that. I appreciate that. There's a lot of you don't get into education because you want a paycheck. Not because we're poor.
you don't get into HR because you want a paycheck. Let's be clear
Yeah.
here for anyone who's wondering. Sign up for Patreon here at Bourbon. Tia's going to sign up, or because of wedding feeling like guilt. So with that being, and then also at the same time being a parent, are there moments where like you feel like your kid is? You already talked about you give extra lessons. Your sister's tapping in for social studies. You have other. Hey, you might have seen this in school. Let me give you some more.
Mm-hmm.
But are there also moments that where you are egregiously aware of the shortcomings and you're like, is there like a daily check-in? What did you learn today? And you
There
fill in gaps
is.
or
And my kids are all a vault, right? So you ask the question, good is all you get.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's all
My
you
parent never
get.
talked to me. Every time I said, how are you? You said good.
Yeah, no, it's so you don't get a lot. You get a lot by doing, right? Like you work with them, you talk to them, and it has to be on their terms, right? Because when I walk through the door and I go, hey, how was school? It's always good. There's never been a day for any of them, for either one of them, that they go like, today was rough, or I really struggled with this. So I've gotten into the habit of asking really explicit questions. Tell me something funny that happened today. Tell me what game you played in the playground today. Like, who did you play with? What book did you read? What's something that your teacher said that, right, like caught you by surprise or that you remember? Just to get a little bit more information that usually gets them talking, and there you become aware of where the gaps are sometimes. Um, but also just working really closely with the teachers. And I think that I think that doctors and teachers are the hardest people to have. Like as a doctor, having another doctor whose kid you're attending, it's tough, right? Because they're always diagnosing. Having a teacher as a parent to write your students is also tough because you're going in there with a different lens. So I try to take my teacher hat off.
And your kid's not the only student.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the biggest part, right? Like I have
is not yours.
You do what you have to do in your classroom, right? And I'm gonna trust that you're doing what's best, what's in my kid's best interest, and just keeping that communication open. I think that's the biggest part, like for teachers and parents. I think right, like being on both sides of it. I think that just having open communication with your kids' teachers and teachers having open communication with parents. First of all, once you win over the parents and you have them in your hand and you close them up and you stick them in your pocket, you can do what you want. You do whatever you want.
Guys, if you ever want to get to the roster of a teacher, no, I'm joking.
It's true, right? Like if you want them to bend to your will, or if you really want them to be in your corner.
She means support. She means support.
That's what I said.
Is, if you want your parent, the parent of the, fuck it, bend to your will. That's fine. I'm not a parent. I don't give a shit what you say.
You need to form you need to form those relationships, not only with the kids. It's a family thing, right? Like you have to bring the whole family into the mix because the family is an extension of that kid. And if you don't know what's going on at home, if you don't know, right, like enough about the culture or their customs or like their values, then you won't be able to support the kid in the best way possible. And that is fucking exhausting to do for each individual kid. But you have to get to know them individually if you're trying to really do anything in the classroom.
Yeah. I mean, that's even, look, I'm not a teacher at all. I would never be a teacher because fuck them kids. Because I would be way too explicit. Listen, little shit. You can learn Romeo and Juliet or not. I don't fucking
You can
care.
think it, you just can't see it.
Don't say the shit out loud. But I think teachers, part of the reason why I'm such a big advocate, I've been trying to get an educator on here. I have had multiple friends I've reached out to, and they're always cautious, same as you were. Even yours is much less so about anything about like, hey, local school district, you don't live here.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons is I think that you guys deal with a dynamic that no one acknowledges. I think there is this is rude. This is rude. I don't care because it's honest. Parents think you should be doing their job for them, and the kids end up being little shits. And the parent turns around and says, "What do you mean my kid failed your class?" It's like, bitch, I teach a lesson.
Well, never mind fail your class.
But even then, just why is my kid a little shit? You tell me, why is your kid a little shit? I have 30 others. Oh, wait, education funding has gone down. I have 45 others. Hey, oh my God, half of your kids have been brought up during a pandemic. They don't even know how to talk to people. They might as well hiss at them like a feral creature.
Which, what the fuck? Were you guys not talking to your kids at home?
Yeah. And then even more so, your kids think that they're the only ones who exist. So this is very indicative of who you are because you're in my office telling me that you're the only one who exists, not acknowledging there are 44 other students who need individual assistance. And I am not necessarily trained to also be their therapist because you have imposed this trauma on them.
Yeah.
As a non-educator and someone who just, does a podcast where I talk about big booty Dominican women controlling my life and everything I like to pour. I also heavily want to become the person who advocates for the fact that you guys don't get credit.
I appreciate that.
Because I think it's unfair. It's like Monday morning quarterbacks. You get all the blame and all the credit, but more so the blame. I think parents will be like, I was such a great parent.
Well, you have a lot of parents who come in and they say some really wild shit to you, right? About like what their expectation is of my role. And it's like
Burger King or McDonald's, you can't have it your way, bitch.
I had a parent at the beginning of the school year. They had their kid was having a conflict or had a conflict, isolated incident with another child. And the parent came in the very next day and said, hey, I would like for him to be moved. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I want their seat to be changed. And I have a reputation already. I'm slowly building a reputation at the school of being like
difficult one.
Not difficult, but
I don't think you're difficult. They might think you're difficult.
They might think I'm difficult. I'm no nonsense. I'm not going to sit here and it's not a la carte. I'm not going to cater to the parents' need necessarily, right? Unless I find that it's necessary for the child, right? Like I do. It works both ways. But I had this parent come in and tell me like, hey, I need you to change his seat. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Imagine if every time that a kid had a conflict with another child, I changed their seats. We're going to be playing musical chairs all year. And it is a life skill to be able to like deal with those situations. You need to be able to resolve conflicts. And I encourage the kids to resolve the conflicts on their own. So, like, right, imagine 5-year-olds, right? They come over and they go, hey, so and so said this to me. And my first question is 100% of the time is, well, did you like that? No. And my second question is 100% every single time is, did you tell them? No. I need you to go tell them and see, let's see what happens from there. I'm not going to jump in and go like, stop doing this to so-and-so on the first jump. Why? Because I'm not going to be there every time, right? And it's like, it's your job to learn how to do that in life, not just in kindergarten, like in life, you have to learn how to have those skills and advocate for yourself and go, hey, don't do that anymore. I don't like it. Don't touch me. I don't like it. Don't touch my things. I don't like it. And it's okay, right? And I also go and support the other side of it, right? Because kids aren't used to being held accountable. So I have to sometimes step in and go, like, did you hear what she said? Like, she told you that you did this thing. Do you agree? And they go, yeah. And they're always like stunned, right? And it's like, well, what do you think? Right? Like, is that okay? Like, probably not. And it's like, well, what should you say? Like, maybe have a conversation about that. I won't do it again. And it's the only thing that you can do, right? Like, it's the only solution to this problem. But kids have to be explicitly taught how to do that. And if we jump in every time and go, oh, you can't sit next to this kid because you had an issue, then like, that's not how life works. You're going to have to work with people that you don't like, people that don't understand you, the people that have different beliefs as you. And it's part of the reason why we're also fucking sensitive right now, because you don't have practice doing that.
There's so many levels to that, right? So I am working in an industry where I do a lot of conflict resolution, right? And the very first question is, are they aware of that this is a concern? Because
exactly.
And for anyone listening at home, it's like, oh, when an adult, when you're an adult, that goes away. No, you're all soft. I'm gonna tell you right now, in a corporate setting, you can wear as many suit and ties as you want. You're all soft as baby shit.
It's crazy.
And there is an inherently like I'm a Neanderthal by a lot of means. Like even how I communicate is overly. I had someone describe it as, oh, you lack tact. I was like, oh, you're soft. I feel like we could get much further in life if I just tell you where I stand and all that. But
what it is, just tell you what it is.
But to your point, that flip, that person established a boundary, and then we have to also address. And I love that you brought that up. That we have to address how that person interpreted that addressing of that space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. Let's check in with fucking person number 2 and see how they're feeling about it and how if they could accurately or not accurately, I guess, constructively interpret that reaction. Talk to person 2. Hey, how do you feel about that? I didn't know. That is one of the best responses. It sounds like benign, like kind of simple, just whatever. That's one of the best responses.
It's so basic. It's so basic. It's such a basic thing. And if we all started there, right? Like even from kids, but adults, if we all just started there, it's like, oh.
I didn't know. I didn't know how my actions were being interpreted. That is one of the best foundations of growth. I didn't know versus that's not how I meant, like how I meant to accept it, obviously. But well, I don't know why they saw it that way. We got more work here.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
We can talk about this because you are acknowledging the fact that someone else might have a different interpretation of your actions. But I like the fact that you also then go back and be like, hey, Kimmy said she didn't like how you played with her toys. Like, how you feel about that? I didn't know. Like, my bad. Like, I'll do better. That is fucking 1,000,000% better than half
the conversations having among themselves, right? Like, don't tell me that you didn't like what he did. Yeah. Tell her I didn't like what you did.
I wouldn't have a job in my real 9 to 5 if more teachers did that.
Yeah.
If more people did that, not even teachers, because it's not on you. Once again, it's not on you. If more people taught their kids to acknowledge that space and to accept that, hey, look, that's my boundary, bro. Let's chill.
Yeah.
Like even as grown adults, like we could fuck around and joke around. And I have friends that are like, hey, don't call me a jerk. That word triggers me. I don't need to know why you establish that as a boundary.
Done.
Like I might want to know why as a friend to support. Like, hey, are you good? Like, what's going on?
What happened there? Yeah.
You know what happened there? If you don't feel comfortable, all right, but say less. It does not bother me that that's a lie. I can come up with strategically different, unique ways of calling you a piece of shit without calling you a jerk.
Right.
But I'm saying, like,
We can get creative.
I can call you a lot of things. I'm not going to do that today because I don't have enough beeps. But I think that is cool that you approach it that way, because you didn't only address the person that wanted to establish boundary, but understanding that that has to be a two-way street in communication. How someone is interpreting that data and that information that's coming to them.
You have to learn that. That's also a learned skill. And a lot of people aren't being taught
that part where you have to take a step back, being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Right.
No one likes to be told you're the problem.
Exactly.
But it matters. It's important to know when you are the problem. You are not a godsend. You are not perfect. No one is perfect. You have to understand where your interpretation of things might not align with someone else's.
Right.
It's going to help you in life.
Right. So that's like that's been my big thing. My big thing in the classroom, and I take pride in it, is building community. We're all here to help each other. There's no gatekeeping. We're not like, there's not a hierarchy here. If I did something that you didn't like, call me out. If I hurt your feelings, call me out. And if you hurt my feelings, I'm going to tell you I didn't like what you did. And even like in having that conversation, like for kids to have that conversation with an adult, especially among the Hispanic community, can be really uncomfortable, right? Like they're like, I don't understand. Like, you are señora, right? Like, yo la maestra.
Bro, we don't have enough time in the world for that. But I'm hacking how like Hispanic communities, like, this is authoritarian. Like, this is it. This is end all be all. This is God. This is the end all be all for teachers, depending on who you are.
Exactly. And I see that from the parents. Like, the parents are like, Señor, like, what do I do? And it's like, dude, that is your child. That is your child.
Maestra, doctora, like, there's this like whole like fucking holier than thou, which is something I wish more people would adopt. And I'm not saying any.
Yeah, to a certain extent, to a certain degree.
Yeah, 100%. I want to give that caveat. Like, it's just, there's a level of understanding that I am not against you. I'm trying to support you.
Right.
Like, this is not a you versus me. Exactly. I get them for 8 hours a day. You get them for their life. I get them maybe a year. You get them forever.
Exactly.
I'm not getting paid buku bucks. I literally care about these kids.
Here because I want to be, guys.
Yeah, and that's my point. Like, I feel like there's so many times that people forget that, like, they have a job to do. They get paid. They also have
it's bullshit
because they can't get paid much.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Understand that teachers didn't get here because this is a lucrative job like Elon Musk and Doge. We're not going to do that today. That's a different episode.
Please don't. There's
not a lucrative job here. This is not something that, I might as well have won the lottery. People aren't vying. Educators are all-time demand. Nurses are in demand. Like, these are professions that need a literal desire to be that fucking basically sounding board, punching bag, catalyst for growth. There's a lot of things
you wear so many hats. You wear so many hats as a teacher.
Like, their best friend, their guidance counselor, their therapist, their part-time parent. I can't do as much as you. You have them for the rest of the day. Why are you coming at me? And there are sometimes that you have to kick it back to parents.
Yeah. And I'm good at that. Love that part.
There we go. This is our last question is, listen here, you little shit. Has there been a moment? Yeah. For those who are first-time listeners, I like to theme my questions around something I find insanely interesting, or like little just fucking sounding things. Listen here, you little shit. Have you ever looked at a student and said, okay, listen here, and said, this is the parent problem, but a kid that stood out like, I don't want this motherfucker in my life. Like, it was just like, I'm fucking done. Fed up. The worst, quick of a worst case scenario with the kid. Or funny. It can be funny. It can just be a kid who shit his pants. Shouts to Mikey.
True story. You block it out a little bit, like having like childbirth, right? Where you do it and then you forget, kind of, right? And
PTSD, bro.
You restart and you're like, oh, this group is worse than the last. No, there was one kid, and there's one kid every year, but there was one kid on
walking back and forth. Are you okay?
I know, right? Like, I'm just,
what in the Hannibal Lecter? What was this kid? Where did he hurt you?
There was one kid. My first year teaching here in Maryland. Super smart kid. Again, he was really attention hungry.
Mm.
And you can tell that at home, he was, I mean, just everybody revolved around him. And this is towards the end of the school year. I like to do fun hands on shit with the kids. So we had done a study. We decided to do a study on ice cream, right? Because why not?
Yeah.
And we made ice cream in the classroom. And part of the deal was we're going to make ice cream and then we're going to have an ice cream party. Um, Towards the end of the day, now this kid had really been, I mean, he'd been on a fucking roll all week, just pissing everybody off. He was fucking, he was rude, like just a bunch of stuff. Um, and towards the end of the day, he did something unsafe, right? And that's where I draw the line. Once you make others feel unsafe,
Mm.
that's where I'm like, done. He threw something at another kid and he just missed them by a little bit. But I was like, you're done. You will not participate in this. And for me to take a kid out of an activity, like I don't do that. I don't like to single out kids. I don't like to exclude them from things, especially if it's like fun shit. But I really needed to make an example. I really needed to prove my point and like just let him know that I meant business. Like that was, you crossed the line. Um, so I excluded him and everything seemed fine, right? Like at first he was obviously upset, but I had, and when I say excluded, it's not like you're going to go sit in the corner and watch everybody else eat ice cream. It's like he was removed from the classroom with a group of other students and they did a fun activity in a different class, right? That's what I mean. It's not he was sitting in the corner just fucking watching everybody, just like, ice cream's so good. Um, at the end of the day during pickup, right? Once he realized that the shit was over and everybody else had had their ice cream and he was reintegrated into the classroom and it was time to dismiss, he had a shit fit. And the person that comes to pick him up came to pick him up, and it wasn't a parent. And he refused to leave to the point that I had to call the parent and go, he's refusing to move. When someone came in and physically lifted him up and removed him from my classroom and took him home, his mom came back to the front office, to the principal and the assistant principal about 15 minutes after dismissal. And he had told his parent that I had put my hands on him. And needless to say, needless to
Mm.
say, just how upset I was with the whole thing, right? And I was ready, right? Because I never back down from, especially a situation like that. And but it was a hard conversation, right? Because now it's hearsay. And luckily, there were other teachers in the room with me. There were other students in the room with me, so I wasn't concerned about that part. But it was like moving forward, we still have several months
With this kid.
with this kid in my class of me having to have a relationship with this parent to some extent. And what does this look like moving forward? And for my administration, right? Like for my supervisors, my principal and assistant principal, that's not like a stain that I want on my record.
No, you
Of
don't.
them even like right, like just even the accusation of it was ridiculous to me. But I didn't want that on me. So I went and I had this conversation. I meet with everyone, right? The mom and the administration. And I'm having this conversation with the parent, and the parent, the kid's there, and she's like, stop crying. I'm going to go buy you ice cream. And I'm explaining to her, like, listen, this isn't, I don't like doing this. And I had to hold him accountable for his actions, right? Like, this is something that we had spoken about before. This is an isolated incident. And he was not being safe. He could have hurt someone. And that's where I have to draw the line, right? I have to keep the rest of the students safe because their parents are trusting me to do that. And she was not trying to budge. Like she was like, but how could you keep him from eating the ice cream? And it was all about the ice cream. And he's sitting there like, yeah, my ice cream. And then I was like, don't worry, papi, yo te voy a comprar un helado. And she's like, and it was total disbelief, right? That you can see your kid being a total asshole and and being mean, right? Like being mean spirited. And at some point, I knew that she didn't believe that I had actually put my hands on him. It was all about me excluding him from this activity. And it was so like it first of all, I don't do activities like that anymore.
No more ice
After
cream
that
parties.
year,
He fucked
no
up
more
ice cream
ice
parties
cream.
for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
crew.
yeah. No, I don't exclude
We'll
kids.
call him Jacob.
It
Fuck you, Jacob. We want ice cream parties.
it was really like it was eye opening for me in the sense of like I know that I need to cover my ass, right? And you have to eat a little bit of shit. And it's unfortunate, right? Because had my administration been different, had they not known me as well as they did, had they not observed me and just known where my moral compass or where, like whatever, had they doubted me for a second, that shit could have gone left.
Yeah.
And it was really something, right? So there's certain things where if there's not another adult in the room, I don't engage, right? Like I make sure that certain conversations only happen with
Witness.
some with a witness, which I was already pretty guarded about that to begin with. But this was one of those situations where I was like, this blows. This blows, and it shouldn't be this way.
That's sad, right? Like
Yeah.
I tell anyone, I guess I was gonna say leadership roles, but anything where you are in a place where you have influence or impact on someone, whether it's their career or not, especially in my role, I try to tell people all the time, short and breathe. Just cover your ass. CYA.
Yeah.
Cover your ass. And it sucks because there's a benefit. I'm going to speak to the opposite. There's a benefit to accountability now. People are like, oh, and all these claims of these negative interactions or racism or all that stuff, that never happened back in my day. Back in the day, I had to mail you something and hope that in 5 to 12 business days, you would get that letter. The reason why there's no accountability, there wasn't as much accountability is that people didn't have that back in the day.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's an aspect of it which is beneficial. I didn't know what was going on in Kansas 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Exactly.
Now I know within 30 seconds of it going down. I think it was, what was it? Where was that boat thing where people got beat with a chair?
Louisiana, was it Louisiana? I think it was
like
Louisiana.
Alabama or one of those ones.
Maybe, yeah.
Someone looked at, I wish I had a producer. Hey, where did the boat thing happen? I'm going to look this up in real time. But my point, fuck it, we're pause for a second. Where did people get hit with a chair on a boat?
Happy Black History Month, everyone.
Happy Black History Month. Because that was like a bat signal near boats. Shouts Uncle Nearest. This happened at Riverfront in Montgomery, Alabama. That made
Alabama.
Sense.
You're right.
2023. Oh yeah, I was like, I feel like it's Alabama. It feels really Alabama-ish.
It does feel really Alabama-ish.
But the reason why things like it didn't mean that those things weren't happening. There's an accountability now because of how readily available information is. So yeah, that's a good thing. But there's also a detriment, right? Like there are motherfuckers running around there, like every single thing has to be watched. You have to be careful because any minor interaction can be photoshopped and moved and fucking clipped to fill.
It's terrifying.
Narrative. Yeah, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Every interaction.
That could have been my whole career, right? Like you work so hard for something to get paid pennies, and then you have this fucking kid just come and be like, she put her hands on me, and I'm like,
yeah. And because there are other kids in the room are this kid's best friend, or they love how funny he is, or they don't want to be the cool kids. Everyone suddenly collaborates a story. And it's, oh my God, yeah, she did. You're like, what the fuck? There's cameras in here. I know I didn't. It's scary, man. Like it's a frightening moment. And even more so why I give you guys praise as much as I do. Like there is a thankless job where you are blamed for everything, but thanked for nothing. When someone, this is fucked up, someone's going to hate me for it. When someone survives a surgery and someone says, thank God, it's like he didn't have gloves on, did he? Dr. So-and-so did. So let's be really careful who you're thinking. That's Zen for ya.
I mean, like the other side of that coin is the parents who do acknowledge the work that you do with their kids, right? Or all the growth their kids do.
Right.
And those are rare, right? Like those parents are rare and far apart, but that's kind of what
regionally specific.
Yeah. Right. Like that's kind of what keeps you going. Right. Those kids. I had a kid who last year who used to lose his shit. He just didn't know how to communicate his emotions, and he would lose his shit, trash my room. And trash my room. And a couple of months in, it was a different child, right? And it was just like I made a connection with him and he was able to communicate with me. And his mom was really hands on. She was really great. And that, right, like that keeps you going, right? The same way you have those kids whose parents trying to buy them ice cream because they were a dick at school. And you have those other parents who are like, we don't know what we would do without you, right? Like, thank you so much for everything you do.
To this day, one of the funniest things, it's like, I hate you, mom. That's not happening in the Dominican house. I'm sorry.
Instantly, you get.
At least when I was a kid, I'm gonna get punched in the face.
Yeah, you have a busted lip so fast.
Yeah, and no one's gonna ask me the next day. It's like, did your mom hurt you? Yes, because I was a piece of shit. No one calls DCF.
You knew better. You get your ass whipped for that.
I'm gonna get hit again. I don't want to. And it's not a negative thing. Shut up. For anyone who's like, oh, you should put him in timeout. Timeout didn't work.
No, I'm currently in the timeout era, and my kids don't give a fuck.
All you did was give them a break from you. There's no benefit.
He does not give a fuck.
Yeah, we're not doing it. I'm not a parent. Not a parent, because I would be an asshole parent. The moment my kid says, I hate you. Well, I didn't want you, Mistake.
I still haven't had a kid say it. So my streak is good. There's still plenty of time. Don't get me wrong.
Not my friend. You're 100% right. I pay the bills. Shut the fuck up and do what I ask. Like, I'm not your friend. I guess you're my employee now. Go do the thing I told you to do.
There you go. You live here, you're mine.
Yeah. Guess what? Property. We're not doing that. That's not in this month, at least. Where am I? Write that down somewhere.
Oh my God.
But all right. So, any advice for that was the most out of pocket thing I've said all episode. It was just really 17 delete 3/5 compromise. Like, so the keyword and starting every new segment. Any advice you would give to anyone trying to get into teaching, or shit, just a word for parents?
Don't. No.
The both? Don't be a teacher and don't be a parent. All right, guys.
Don't.
Have a good night.
Abort mission. No, my son's going into teaching.
Not in Florida.
Too soon. My oldest is going into teaching, and when he first told me, yeah, no, that was my question. That exactly was my question. Jaden decided, I don't know, he was coaching a swim team and he decided to go into teaching, and he was like, something clicked and I really enjoyed this. And I'm like, wait, think about it. You're going to be broke and you're going to be living here forever, and your life is going to be full of stress, and you're going to be working a lot outside of work hours.
You had to live in the center though, at least.
I mean, do I? Do I?
They're all going to learn how to swim because they're going to follow him around. I guess
They will. They will. They'll all be good swimmers. But no, my first piece of advice for him was make sure that you love it, because there's so many parts of it not to love that you really have to be in it for the right reasons. It can't be for the pay, because you're not getting that. Mm-hmm. It can't be for the summers off, because that ain't shit, right? Like, it's not worth the trouble that you go through. And you just really have to be sure of why you're going into it, whether that's to support children in finding themselves, whether it's to teach life skills. I think that that's the first thing that we do. I think that there's a lot of, right, like teaching, you hear teaching and you're like, okay, math, science, reading, social studies. But I think that that's secondary. I think the first thing that we do is teach them how to be human, how to be good humans, how to be part of our society, good citizens. And I think that's our main job and our main purpose. And everything else is secondary. And sure, you're going to learn how to read to, to the best of your ability. And you're going to learn math to the best of your abilities. But being a good human, you're going to need forever, right? Like, you might not need math for whatever you do. If you're picking shit up and putting shit down, you might not need math. But you will need to be a good human and a part of this civilization and society.
Okay. And to the parents, one last message to them.
Look, just allow your kids to be independent. Encourage them. to be independent. It's okay to let them struggle a little bit. You don't have to do everything for them. Productive struggle is good. It's going to build character. It's going to make them better. It's going to help them persevere. And we can't always step in.
Struggle.
Productive struggle. That's what we call it. It's a productive struggle when you're figuring things out, when you're problem solving for yourself. It's okay to let them kind of work through that. Figure it out.
Okay. I like that shit. I'm gonna write that down. Productive struggle. I wonder how that would look in like New Roman's font on my tattoos. That's dope. I like that. I think that's a really key learning point for a lot of parents. Like, let them fuck up. Let them learn.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It really is okay.
It's fine. Have a fire extinguisher.
It's okay. It's okay. They're going to learn from it. Obviously, you don't want your kid to fail, but that's also part of it, right? Like, there's so much learning that happens.
I want them to fail while it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I want them to fail while there's a safety net behind them. Like, hey,
exactly.
Oh, you fucked all that up. Hey, guess who's here to make sure you don't die about it? Like,
I have a philosophy, right? And I'm in this unique spot of raising right now.
Why do you say raising like they don't live in their house?
No. Because like I'm thinking Jaden, right? Jaden's an adult, technically. He's 20 years old. He's off at college. Right. So I have this theory.
Can't even drink it.
Right. Well, I mean, technically.
We're Dominican, so he drank at 12. It's fine. Go on.
He didn't. He was such a good boy. He was not even my child. He's such a good kid.
Who is his parent?
I don't know how I produced it.
That's after he came out of you?
He really is the model kid. He did not prepare me for the other two. The other two, wait for it, right? We'll follow up on the other two in the future, and I'll update you on how that's happening. They are.
He's gonna come back in the two.
Dude, they are their mother's child. Jaden is not.
Jaden's like child by proxy.
Seriously, I swear. I mean, seriously, it's weird. Mm-hmm. Raising shit. I forgot my point. Oh, I have this theory of like, this is the time. So Jaden's in his 20s. He's away at college, and we support him in every which way or form. Jaden works for himself. He makes his own money. If he's gonna go fuck around and he has money to spend, then it's coming out of his earnings, right? Like, I'm not anything school related. Obviously, I'm putting in, and I'm helping with that. But we gave him the license to kind of, this is your time. You are like an adult in practice. You are technically and legally an adult, right? Like, you can serve in the military, you can do certain things, you can vote. But this is the time where you will have a safety net. You can adult as much as you can while still having us here to catch you, right? Like, this is your dress rehearsal. Yeah, it's a dress rehearsal for adulting. And that's kind of the approach that we've taken with that. Fuck up now. Fuck up now. We still got you. Don't wait till you're 30 and 40 to fuck up and have a couple of kids or, an ex-wife or whatever. Like, do it now. We've got you.
We're back at this high school sweetheart shit too. Like a little bit. Like, this is the time you should be fucking around and finding out. There's gonna be at least two people who's like, I've been in a committed relationship since I was 13. And it's like, no, that's dumb, because she's looking up some shit on Reddit you don't need to know about, fam.
Right. You gotta
hurt your feelings real quick.
I have, no, my advice to all young people is go ho.
Go ho.
Those are my parting words. Go ho.
My advice in so this is gonna fuck it, I'll say it. One of the things I told my friend John, he's like, hey man, like, I know that you've been promiscuous and doing what you want and blah blah. Like, don't you get lonely? It's like, that's literally the exact opposite of my business plan. He's like, what? I was like, I could always tag someone in. There's never a moment of loneliness. If someone's busy, I just tag someone else in. And he's like, that is shit. So while you're young, go ho, Rosanna.
Go ho.
14 years ago, mind your business. my point is that
Roman's gonna love that because I literally said those words to him earlier.
Go ho. You need to go ho. Whether it's like
go ho, guys.
Go ho's not just sexual for you closed-minded motherfuckers. Just go do stupid shit. Go have fun. Go experience
it. This is the time.
Now, when you're 50 and your hips hurt, you can't go do, and you're going to regret never doing it. Do this shit early on. Have your parents behind you. And I understand that not every family dynamic has that parent back to be able to support that. Sometimes you got to be an adult. You fuck around later on, but make sure that you give yourself the ability to make mistakes if you can.
Yeah.
Parent, but I think that my mom, as much as I want to yell at her all the time and she pisses me off, gave me plenty of rope to hang myself with, kind of. She's like, hey, yeah, how about your friends over? Have a bunch of random people at the house. Oh, there's a girl in your house at like 1 a.m. in her underwear. That's fine. It's cool.
I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything. Just walk away. And it was like, cause she knew I wouldn't be doing anything stupid. Like I wouldn't do anything dumb. I was responsible. And the more like, at least not every kid's the same. For me, the more freedom you gave me, the more responsible I became. So there were many moments I'm like, got a good thing going. I'm not trying to fuck up that dynamic.
Was trying to fuck up all.
Yeah, this is, yes. And for bonus features, at some point, we will bring her back on where she talks about all the things she fucked around and found out about.
Oh, that's going to be a long one.
Oh, it's going to be a long one. But guys, we are wrapping up. Tia, always a fucking pleasure getting to connect with you.
I love you to death. I always tell you randomly in my yearly post to you, my yearly message, I love you to bits and pieces.
Bro, she did text me recently. And I was like, it made me genuinely smile because I was stressed out with a bunch of other shit. She's like, hey, I don't listen to it, but I see the shit you're doing. I appreciate you. I support you. I love the shit you're doing, blah, blah. And just, I miss you and love you, blah, blah. It's like, what the fuck happened here? And it was, she didn't know this, but it was like, I was stressed the fuck out to see that. I was like, but my suspicious self with like, the fuck is this about? What, you need money? I'll send you
genuine. It's always genuine.
No, I know, but
100% of the time, it's a moment that I've had, and I go, okay, don't let the moment slip away. And I try to always reach out when I feel that. I try to do it in real time.
And what happened? Because I remember you telling me, but just for the people at home, like
nothing happened. Nothing happened. I just had a memory of a very difficult time in my life and how you just showed up, and I don't think you understood at the time just how valuable that was for me and how I needed that sense of normalcy at the time. And I like literally you didn't do anything that you wouldn't have done on any other day. You just literally showed up, and my dad had passed away, and it was tough. And I remember you guys showed up to the funeral home. And it was just the moment that I needed. Like I needed you guys there to remind me that life goes on, that I'm going to be okay, and that I have such a loving, supporting
group of friends
community. Yeah, a group of friends around me. It was great. Flashback. Like I just had a memory, and I was like, I need,
bro.
I'm not. I'm good. And I had to message you.
Someone's crying on, so it's fine.
I had to let you know that I appreciate that, because I don't know, right? Like it's been forever, but I don't know that I ever said that to you, of how valuable that time was and how much it meant to me that you guys were just there for me.
The realest thing I tell you is that it wasn't some, because I cared about you. You're one of my closest friends in the world. I wouldn't hesitate in the world. If you told me right now, hey, I need you here, because I'm going over there. I'm just going to back up.
Believe that.
Take some Xanax real quick and just fucking get drunk. Let's fucking go. I'm in the place.
Let's go. Let's get on this flight.
I'm drunk. I can't feel my toes. Is this normal? Like, and Spirit Airlines holding up the baggage stuff. No, fuck Spirit. They're not a sponsor. They will never be a sponsor. I don't need to be charged. All I'm saying is, like, I think you didn't even understand when you said that. I was like, that means a lot, bro, because I'm not nice to people that I care about because it benefits me. I feel like there's no way of saying without, I'm just good to people because it's the right thing.
The right thing to do.
Like like there's no fucking logic to it other than, if I care about you, why wouldn't I be good to you?
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Like I've
And
never
I think if
understood,
there were more of that, we'd have a lot less issues in the world.
I never understood when people were like, well, relationships need a dynamic. What do you mean? If I've decided this is a friendship, there's no dynamic. That's it.
That's what it is.
The crux. That's my friend. Like you didn't talk to me for like 2 years. In my head, I was like, oh, we're still friends. 5 years.
5 years.
I'm trying to give you credit, but if you're going to put it in the camera,
I have to be honest.
yeah, she went through some shit because it wasn't me. I was still friends with you.
Wait a minute. We'll unpack this later.
I was still friends with you.
Okay.
Did I hesitate?
You didn't hesitate.
Not once that I'd be like, hey, let's talk.
You didn't hesitate. I was going through a life change.
I was friends with you. Hey, she needs space.
I should have communicated better.
But my point is, I was always like, oh my, no, I love, that's one of my best friends in the world. I love her to death. She can call me in 10 years. I got her. That's just who I am. When I've established that person is my person.
Yeah.
My fiance's fucked. If she ever leaves me, that dude's life is going to suck because I will be there like, hey man, you didn't cut the grass, bro. Like, what's wrong with you?
Do you need some help?
Like, you know that she can't even carry that shit. What's wrong with you? The fuck's wrong, bro? You better move.
I love that though. I love that. That's what it should be. Yeah. And I think that when you care about someone, that is what it. And I love that. I love that you're saying that because even in romantic relationships, sometimes it's like, oh well, fuck her, right? And it's like you can't spend this much time building with someone and becoming so close and getting to know someone so intimately, and then at the end, right? If it runs its course, then
short of some negative. In fairness, in the situation, hey, let's say someone fucking dynamic change and she changes the dynamic as a person, but some people just fall out of love.
Yeah.
In that situation, hey, we fall out of love. I still got you all day. You can be like, I can still be your emergency contact. I don't sleep anyway, bro. It's fine.
I always tell Roman that our divorce is going to be phenomenal. We're going to have the best.
I told her if I died, I would haunt her and make sure that no guy could ever get hard around her again. That's a goal. That's an afterlife goal. I never said I would want her to move on.
Rosanna, if you're in trouble, just let us know. Blink twice.
I'm not that guy, but I will fucking haunt her. I just start moving shit around the house like that doesn't even go there, and you know that.
That's great.
Just being great. But no, like that friendship lasts a while, and I do want to reiterate that, like, there are, as a teacher, that who you are as a human being just kind of personified into an educational purpose, and how what dynamic was with the students, where you treated them like adults and wanted to shape them and all that because that's what you wanted for you and that's what you found value in you. It does suck that parents don't always give that credit where it's due. But running low on time, we got to wrap up because I know you got a whole ass family waiting and Roman's probably running around like, this is crazy.
Yeah, he's probably tied up upstairs.
Yeah, he's probably like physically tied up. Like what's happening?
You can never be too sure with those girls.
Yeah. Outside of wishing Roman could beat me in fantasy football, which isn't going to happen all the time, do you have any closing words for people listening at home, or any last tidbits of advice?
I think right now I'm all about live and let live. I think that's my mantra right now. Do what makes you happy. Life is too short. Do what makes you happy. Do what fills you with joy, and be kind.
Okay. I respect that. I think that's an important thing to, like, just fucking do the right thing. Treat people like human beings.
Do the right thing.
And at the end of the day, don't be dicks to each other. Because I think too often we talk about like people who just don't accept differences around each other. Really fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Guys, if anything you take from closing of this episode, make sure that you thank your teacher. Don't give them an apple. Give them a gift card to wherever they can buy alcohol.
Give them money and no more mugs. For the love of God, we don't need any more cups. Please don't give your teacher a cup. Those are my parting words. Don't give your teachers any more cups. We don't need any more cups. We have cups.
I appreciate that. I respect that. Give them a gift card to Chili's where they can get like $2 tequila margaritas. Something else. Something where they can get drunk. Because your kid's a dick. You might not know this. Your kid's a dick. Listen, I'm going to go right to the camera. You might think your kid's an angel. They're a dick.
I'm glad you said it. I can't say it. Your kids are lovely. They're little angels.
No. They're a dick. Your kid's a dick.
Your little blessing has made me work.
The blessing is that they go home. That's the blessing. Fuck your fuck Timmy. All jokes aside, if you guys do like what you're listening to, I like, once again, for anyone who's listening to the show, like, I thought this was about bourbon, whiskey, and the bottles are a catalyst. I'll put all the nerd shit in there for you for the bottles that we featured. Today we drank Angel's Envy, which seems to be a very big fan favorite because of its palatability and being able to be utilized in cocktails and sipped in regular everyday basis. So I will give you that for those nerds who want to hear more about the Angel's Envy distillery in, I think they're in Louisville. Yeah, they're in Louisville, downtown Louisville, Kentucky, where's their main distillery. We'll talk about that, but that's the catalyst for good conversation, to giving highlights and time for those people who are doing jobs or hell, just have a great story to tell. But if you like what we are doing, now that Tia has even noticed that show exists, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram.
I will.
Bourbon_and_BS. I swear to Christ, if I check after the show and you are not following me,
still following you,
we are fucking having a problem. I'm going to redo a wedding. You're inviting me to this one. It's just me, you, and Roman and the kids. Go ahead. Say you do. Go ahead.
So subscribing right now.
And we do, this is a labor of love for the time being as we look into getting more support going forward. So if you are liking what we're doing, make sure you sign up for Patreon. Even $1 a day gives you exclusive access to This Round's on Me, Whiskey Minutes, and any uncut, unfiltered episodes, including video behind the scenes of every episode we do. If you guys want that, it's on there. And we also take suggestions. If you have people you want us to interview or topics you want us to discuss, it's only on there for Patreons first and foremost. And that's all about it. Be good to each other. Don't be dicks. And if your kids are little assholes, make sure that it's not the teacher's fault. Maybe you should look around why your kid's a dick. Agnes. Bye, guys.